When all the people were stranded and all of them out of line, when all the dreams had been branded long beyond their time, when everyone had been told to follow kind with kind, that's when we knew that the seers, all of them were blind. This time they told us was different. This time we finally change. This time we learn all that we meant. This time we reach the range. But when the time came down to it, we found something strange. All this from the new order seemed permanently deranged. All things we've seen, those colors from blue to green, no changes to move ahead, all bring us right back instead to so everything is brand new now. Change has finally come. Now that we've finally seen how to reach everyone. Now that we've finally learned how, the tale that we have spun. I wonder when we'll all realize this plot's already been done. This time they told us was different. And this time we'd finally change. This time we'd learn all that we meant. And this time we reached the range. But when the time came down to it, we found something strange. All this from the new order seemed permanently deranged. All things we've seen, those colors from blue to green, all changes to move ahead, all bring us right back instead to
There we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Arvanauts, to the Twitch channel, and welcome to Speculate listeners to a very special joint Speculate and Twitch presentation of Star Wars-themed Scum and Villainy, what we are calling, according to Mike Underwood, the GM, a hidden hope, which I am very excited to hear why this hope is hidden and whether we can unhide it at some point, starring 4 amazing authors who will be our players as well. Before I introduce them, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the Twitch stream. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to follow the channel. Please make sure to check out the YouTube with the !ARV2, which has past broadcasts of the stream. Twitter is !ARV tweets. Would love it if you can follow me over there. I always try to tweet when I go live and various announcements and things of that sort. !ARVcord is the Discord channel where you can hang out with the Arvanauts on the Twitch channel in between streams. The website for all of that is arvaneleron.com. And on the financial side, of course, we've got the Patreon, which is !ARVtreon. That's really the financial backbone of the channel. The shop, which has a bunch of merchandise from both my Adventures of Middle-earth games and also from the Infinity and Beyond crew, which is currently playing Curse of Strahd on my channel. That is at !ARVshop. And last but certainly not least, that sub button. There you go, Echo. That sub button, which is right above your video window. We are sitting right now at about 64 subs, I believe, as we move on to our goal for the end of the year. So thank you to all of those who have supported me to this point. I also want to welcome, as I said, the Speculate listeners who are listening in on this as well as part of the podcast. And you can find out more about that, which is an actual play podcast co-hosted by myself and the gentleman I'm just about to introduce to you, my co-host Mike Underwood. You can find that at speculatesf.com. It is an actual play podcast that has many authors and editors and so forth who play in various games with us, whether it's Eberron, whether it's Blades in the Dark, whether it's Scum and Villainy of various descriptions. And we did a previous joint event like this earlier. I want to say it was maybe September, which went really, really well. And so we are continuing in that theme with 4 new people and 4 new authors. Last thing that I want to mention to everybody for both the Speculate and the Twitch listeners, one personal quick plug, which is to say that my Greyshade Kickstarter has just been announced. This is my Greyshade universe, not just the novels, the Greyshade novels, the Grey Assassin trilogy, which is going to be edited by John Helfers, 2-time Hugo nominee, but it also includes a board game being designed by Dylan Bertolo and published by Clarion Game Studios, and an RPG being designed by Aaron Rosenberg and published by Alligator Alley Entertainment, who are responsible for my Esper Genesis tabletop game, which is very much in the Star Wars line as far as that's concerned. So if you want to know more about that, you can find that on my Twitter. For those of you who are on my Twitch channel, !GreyShadeKS will do it. Thank you, Echo. But otherwise, for other folks on Speculate who may not have heard about this before, this is going to be happening in March is when we're actually launching the Kickstarter. So I did want to mention it now while I was thinking about it, because, I thought that was going to be of use to both the listeners and everybody else. And so with that said, I am now going to unmute myself, and here's the part where they hear me cut in and interrupt them terribly, and I apologize. I don't even know if they were speaking. I assume they were. And next I'm going to unmute them, and then I'm going to head over to them right now, and you can now see these lovely people on screen. I am also going to begin our recording in Zoom, which I'm going to do right this moment, beginning now. And I am now going to hand things over to the gentleman that you see at the top of the column on your left, my co-host on Speculate, Mike Underwood, a wonderful author, editor, officer, and gentleman of many different things, and of course, game master and game player, also known to us here as Turbo Tango, which is how he hangs out with us when he's on Twitch. But I'm going to hand things over now to Mike to allow him to introduce our players and get Scum and Villainy Star Wars: A Hidden Hope underway. Mike, my friend, good to see you, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks so much, Arv. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be back on Greg's Twitch channel and sharing a new Star Wars adventure with you all. We have a new cast of storytelling luminaries. I've had the chance to role play with a couple of these folks before and chatted with or worked with other folks in my various capacities, and I'm really excited to have them all here. So we're going to be playing Scum and Villainy, which is a role-playing game in the Forged in the Dark style. It's created by Off Guard Games, and that is Strass Asimovic and John LeBeouf Little. So thanks so much to Strash and John for a great game that I've really enjoyed playing and running. And folks should definitely check it out if you like kind of space opera, especially scoundrelly adventures. And there's a lot of options here. The Scum and Villainy has a base setting, which is in the main book, which I think is really cool. But we today are going to be telling a story in a version of the Star Wars universe. So we are not Lucasfilm, so we don't get to say what is actually canon here. We are creating our own version of the Star Wars universe, and we're going to take it and kind of make it our own. And I hope that you will enjoy what we do with it. Our players today, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Valerie. So for everybody, just give us a short introduction to who you are, what you do, and then we'll come back around on the characters real quick. So let's start with Valerie.
Hey there, I am Valerie Valdes. I am a writer, primarily novelist. My debut novel, Chilling Effect, just came out in September. Super hyped about that. It is space opera. I also call it space pachanga for anyone who's interested in learning a little bit of naughty Spanish through the realm of fiction. We touted it as like Mass Effect meets Firefly. So if that sounds like your jam, then that is what I am here for. And I am super excited to be here.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Alex.
Hi, yes, I'm Alex White. I wrote the Salvager series, which starts with a big ship at the edge of the universe. It's a high-flying magic space opera, so if you like magic space operas and you happen to be tuned into a Star Wars channel to watch people role play about magic space operas, you might like my book. I don't know, though. Anyway, I also write for Alien if you like dark stuff.
Cool. Next we have Joe.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joseph Brassey. I am the author of a pair of sort of a space opera fantasy adventures called Skyfarer and Dragon Road. They are basically my love letter to Final Fantasy and Firefly. Lots of sword fighting, lots of sorcery. I think I originally pitched it as a sorceress graduates from Wizard Harvard and ends up getting in a battle with private military contractors.
Yep. And folks can also hear Joe do actual play in another series. So Joe, can you tell us about that real quick?
I am a regular on the Authors and Dragons podcast, which can be found at facebook.com/Authors and Dragons. It's a bunch of us nerdy fantasy authors working our way through a complete shit fest of a campaign. And I play Bjorg Bjornsson, the enthusiastic and violent positive masculinity barbarian.
Yeah, so for you all who like following actual play here, definitely check that out. And welcome back to the channel, Joyce.
Hello. I'm Joyce. I write science fiction and young adult fantasy. Yeah. I write epic. I'm known for writing Werewolf in Space, Starfang trilogy. So it's pretty much out there. Hello.
I love it.
And Joyce, can you bring your camera down a little bit? We're losing the bottom of your face. So that can make it a little bit harder for people to follow what you're saying.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, that's better. Cool. So because this is Star Wars,
oh no,
I have a crawl. And we'll get to that real quick. I'm going to give a short system overview, both to recap for our players, some of whom have played Forge in the Dark games before, some have not. I talked a little bit about this with them before we started going live. For you all in the audience, if you saw the last Star Wars Scum and Villainy game, we're using the same system. So you can follow along there. Scum and Villainy, as a Forge in the Dark game, is very much about kind of daring do and teamwork between these characters. And so when you try to do something, a character is going to say, I want to use this action to try to do a thing. So if I say, okay, Joe, how does your character address the squad of stormtroopers in front of you? Joe, you might look at your action ratings and say, which of these verbs do I want to use? And then you would say, I'm going to use, for example, I'm going to use scrap by kind of diving right in and drawing all of their attention on me. And what I want is to give the others a chance to escape. So what you've done there is you've said, I'm using this action rating. This is how I'm describing how that applies. And this is my goal. So the effect that you want to have in that situation isn't so much getting rid of all the stormtroopers, it's making the space for everybody else to get away. And because we're building a story together, the effect and your intent is really important. So if instead you say, I want to use scrap to use the lightsaber to KO all of these stormtroopers, I'm going to just cut through every one of them. That's a different effect that you're trying to have, a different intent. So keep that in mind. And I'll want to be clear, and I may ask you, okay, well, what result do you want from the thing that you're doing. The action rating you use is under your control. Joe could instead say, I want to use scramble to kind of sow chaos among them and draw their attention. Just do the same effect of giving space for other people to get away. And then I might say, oh, well, you can definitely do that toward that effect, but maybe you're going to have a limited effect. If instead you use scrap, it might have a greater effect. So sometimes we'll do a little bit of back and forth on which action rating applies and how it applies. But generally, you as the player are going to decide, this is what my character is using. I'm going to use this action. So I'll go over the actions really quick. Most of them are pretty well described, but it can be nice to have a quick overview. So doctor is physical medicine, but it's also like emotional comfort and support. You could also use doctor to kind of do like an autopsy or figure out what happened to a human or to like an animal, like, oh, how was this animal killed? You could use doctor to try to figure that out. Hack is everything software. So in Star Wars, this action basically should be called slice. So if you were trying to get around computer security, you're trying to cancel out a camera by using something at a console, you'd use hack. Instead, if you're using hardware or you're working on like basically physical manipulation of a machine or some electrical system, that is going to be rig. Study is kind of book learning, it's recalling things, but it's also like surveying a battlefield. Like if you're kind of peeking over a sand dune and you see an Imperial base, you might use study to figure out what's the way that we could get in. Helm is for basically doing anything at the controls of a vehicle or weapons emplacement. So helm is pilot a spaceship, firing the guns from a spaceship, piloting a land speeder, or like doing some system from a land speeder. Scramble is kind of moving through space. So scramble would be like climbing up while you're getting shot at. It would be safely negotiating through a swamp if you're trying to move quickly, or like kind of chasing somebody rooftop to rooftop. Scrap is kind of the catch-all combat action. So scrap you could use for hand-to-hand, melee, and or ranged combat in kind of an ongoing fight. You could instead use skulk to do violence through sneakery. So if someone doesn't know where you are, you could use skulk to attack them from an ambush, or you could use skulk to kind of stealth your way through a situation or kind of move through a space unobtrusively. People know you're there, but maybe they ignore you because you're good at skulking. Attune is going to be the action for using the force. Any character can roll attune. The two characters who are kind of force aligned here are going to have higher ratings in attune, but the other two, much like the old West End games, you can still call on the force, but it's going to be harder if you don't have any dots in attune. Command is kind of like intimidation or coordinating troops. So if one of you wanted to give a command to a group of Republic troops to try to kind of whip them into shape, you might use command. You might also use command to intimidate a group of mobsters into backing off when they've tried to hold you up. Consort is basically social wheeling and dealing with a peer or with somebody that you care about at all. So you would consort with a fellow soldier, or a criminal would consort with a bounty hunter, saying like, hey, it's not going to be worth your while to like draw down on us here. I know how the work is. I can get you a better job because I was just talking to somebody who was looking for a bounty hunter. And if you go after that, no finder's fee, I'll set you up, make the communication. We walk away, everybody wins. You could instead use sway if you do not care what happens to that bounty hunter. You could bald-faced lie and sway them to leave you alone. So consort and sway have a lot of overlap. Most of the difference in terms of what's going to have a bigger effect comes from your character's relationship to this NPC and how much you care about what happens to them. So sway is more manipulate oriented. Consort is more kind of equals or compassionate interaction. So that's the 12 action ratings. There's also the ability to resist consequences. So if I say that a bad thing is going to happen, okay, so Valerie, your soldier takes a blaster bolt to the shoulder because you got a mixed result on your scramble roll to try to lead this troop across the busy street. You could say, oh, well, I want to resist that. And then you might describe how you roll out of the way, or how you, you dodge behind cover, or, oh, I have armor, so I'm going to use this armor to resist the consequence. If you have something in your kind of items list that you can call on or tick off to resist a consequence, that makes it a lot easier to figure out how you do so, and you're going to resist more consequence. Consequences tend to have levels, so there's a minor consequence, a moderate consequence, and a severe consequence, and that corresponds with harm, level 1, 2, and 3 harm. Level 3 harm is really bad and means that your character kind of can't act unless you push. Level 4 harm is instantly fatal. So if you're taking level 3 or 4 harm, you're often going to want to resist that down so that your character can stay in the scene. When you say that you're going to resist, you say, I'm going to do that with insight, prowess, or resolve. The areas that they cover are kind of the sum and average of the action ratings. So seeing a bad situation coming, or figuring out the way to undo like a mechanical mishap, might be an insight resist. Dodging or toughing it out when you're faced with a physical consequence would probably be a prowess resist. A mental or social resist, like, oh, I'm going to talk my way out of trouble, or I'm going to resist the bad guy noticing our group by kind of grabbing his attention, or I'm going to kind of focus my way through like the roaring jets of a starship and hold and like not lose my concentration. That might be a resolve resist. And when you do that, you're going to click on insight, prowess, or resolve, and you're going to roll dice equal to the number of action ratings in that category that you have at 1 or higher. And that we can see with the little blue line in each category. If you have a dot on the left of that line, you count vertically. And you go, okay, well, I have 1 in study, but nothing in rig, hack, or doctor, so I have 1 insight. And they're going to roll that many dice for your resist. When you resist, you want to roll high, just like when you're doing actions. But when you resist, the consequence, you successfully resist no matter what. The question is the cost. If you roll a 6 on your resist, then you pay 0 stress, because the stress cost for a resist is 6 minus your highest die. So you can just, boom, I rolled a 6, I resist the consequence, I don't have to spend anything, I'm super awesome to keep going. But you might roll 2 dice and get a 2 and a 3. Your highest die is a 3, and it costs you 3 stress, which is 6 minus 3 for 3 stress. And we'll go back over that when someone needs to resist, so you don't have to hold everything in mind all at once. And then when we do our first die roll, I'll walk through the process for doing actions. And for all of you, please feel free to stop and ask for clarification of the rules whenever they apply. If you find yourself like, I want to do something, but I don't know how to express that mechanically, we'll just talk and that'll be totally fine. So because I have a hot open, I want to go back around and ask each of the players to introduce their characters real quick. So if you could tell me your character's name, their look, their playbook, and a little bit about just whatever you would like the players to know before we jump into scene. Because we're going to start hot, I don't want to necessarily have to slow that down as much, but we will be sure to give everybody time to really show off your character and how they fit in and affect the Star Wars world. So, Valerie, can I pick on you again to go first?
Just realized I had muted, totally. So my character is, pulling up my sheet here. So my character is Elmire Stohar, goes by Elle. She has short ginger hair, dark brown eyes, just medium height. She's in a jumpsuit. She is our pilot. She hails from Chandrila, home of Mon Mothma, first capital of the New Republic. She's got 2 moms and an older brother, and she is, like Moana, self-taught. She wanted to attend the new academy that got put together after the Old Republic fell apart, but she is mostly self-taught on simulators.
Okay, cool. And how long has Elle been a pilot for the New Republic in terms of like active duty?
She has been at it for about 5 years, as was the case with the rebellion, as they kind of pull their pilots together from wherever they can get them. And so she's got experience under her belt, but she is still very cheerful, chipper, happy kind of person, despite the combat that she's seen.
Right. And for as a reminder for folks, this is taking place at the end of episode 7 into episode 8. So that's The Force Awakens into The Last Jedi. So Valerie, your character is with the Republic rather than the Resistance, because those are connected but distinct groups. And then stuff changes. So there will be some plot spoilers for Star Wars The Force Awakens and probably all the films that come before that. And just a little bit at the beginning of The Last Jedi. If that is a problem for you, go see those movies and then come back and watch, or just mute the stream and keep our numbers up or whatever. It's all good. So I wanted to check in there. Alex, can you tell us a little bit about kind of what the players need to know in terms of your character? Because this group is going to be together at the start. You're welcome to hold back.
Oh no, I'm not gonna hold back. I think it's more fun to just get started with an open and honest relationship. My character's name is Ula Sivan, and unlike regular Mandalorians, I follow the way of the shadow, which means that no one can see my face for other reasons. You can never know who I actually ever was. My job is to protect Joe's Jedi character, who I will, I'm sure, remember the name of any minute now, and ensure that there are no attacks on his person. And I do this through, intrigue and espionage, not necessarily fighty with the shooty guns. It would be really embarrassing personally for my character if Joe were ever attacked by somebody. I'm just saying.
Okay. I'm sure that won't come up whatsoever.
Definitely not, though.
So
that wouldn't be interesting.
Why don't we hop to Joe? Introduce your character for us, please.
All right. I am playing a Jedi. His name is Jem Daskin. He's tall, probably in his maybe late 20s. He's got auburn hair and gray eyes. He's a natural-born spacer, and he came to it via that very sort of classical archetype of encountering another Jedi and being kind of taken on as an apprentice. So he's a little more isolated from the rest of what's been going on with the rest of the Jedi Order and everything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's that's about him.
Okay, great. And Joyce, please tell us about your character as well.
Okay, my character is Sho Hana. Hana, Sho for their alias. They're in the mid-40s, dark-haired, light brown skin, muscular in a way, stout, and it's mystic, more like a guardian of the whales type. Have a strong affinity to plants and botany, and where they came from, there were only 5 other guardians left. The rest died.
And so one of the things that I like about this style of design is that it encourages GMs to ask players questions. So I asked Valerie a little bit for things about characters. So Joyce, was Sho a guardian at the temple at Jeddah or another temple?
Another temple on Jeddah, but it's like hidden temple.
Okay.
But yeah.
So not where the big explosion was, not where the big Kuiper extraction was.
Yes.
Okay. And so we're going to do that. Cool. So for each of you, for your characters, I've given you some special abilities. Does anybody have questions about how any of those work? Because I want you to make sure that you can make use of them. Some of them have some specific terminology in terms of how the game works. Any place that it says the way, just fill in the force for our force users. So Joe, I gave your character kind of more combat-y force powers. Joyce, I gave your character a little bit more the kind of intuitive and like Jedi mind trick stuff. But if there's other things that you're more interested in having for your character, please let me know and you can switch over. There's Way Shield, which lets you kind of block blaster bolts. And the thing that's really special about it is you can then spend stress and redirect. So for either of you, if you have if a character has a lightsaber, I'll let you resist that because it's the right tool to be able to do so. Way Shield gives you something that lets you do more than that. Kinetics is the kind of telekinesis thing. And then for other characters, Valerie, your character has kind of piloting oriented things. So whenever you're kind of trying to do something and speed is a factor, you're going to have potency, which is a better effect. So if you might normally have a standard effect, you're going to instead have great effect. And when you roll to resist the consequences of piloting, you get a +1d. So if you're using insight while piloting, you would normally get 1, but you're going to get a second die because of that ability. And then you have Keen Eye, which helps for doing gunnery. And when you push yourself, you can spend a 3rd stress to get the +1 die and +1 effect. Normally when a character pushes, they spend 2 stress and they get a bonus die or increased effect. And then for Alex, I'm just going to take a look at your abilities real quick. So Serendipitous is the thing that says that the group gets +1 gambit, which is the scoundrel's base thing, which is excellent. And then Shoot First, when you attack from hiding or spring a trap, take +1d to your action. And when there's a question of who acts first, the answer is you. So basically, you can always go first in a situation if you want. I'll let you know if another character also has an equivalent ability. And then you have ask questions later. When you consort or sway to gather info, you gain potency, so that's that increased effect. And in addition to whatever else you're getting from that role, you get to ask, who might this benefit? Which is kind of like social savvy scoundreliness.
Okay.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions on the abilities or stuff like that?
Oh, it looks pretty.
Okay.
I love this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
Cool.
Fun.
In that case, we'll get started. So because it's Star Wars, I made a crawl. I've done this for basically every Star Wars role-playing game I've run since I was a teenager. So if you'll indulge me, Star Wars, A Hidden Hope. The Hosnian system is gone, and with it, the New Republic Senate. But not all of it. A small Republic delegation is visiting Malastare to facilitate a negotiation between oil merchants and conservationist groups opposed to clearing more forest. The Senate delegation receives news of the destruction of the Hosnian system just as their caravan is attacked by the ruthless Kemal Ren of the Knights of Ren. A small group of Republic officers and their secret allies must escort the surviving senators to safety if the New Republic is to have any chance of survival. So, Joe,
Yes.
what does it look like when Kemal Ren strikes your master down at a distance as your group is escaping?
Crackling red saber passes through cloth like it's not there and leaves the man a burning husk with fire coming from his eyes. Just like it's like seeing someone burned from the inside out. So your master, who I have down, your master is Fexna Chi, who is a middle-aged Ithorian, very kind of unassuming, able to kind of pass unnoticed. And you knew him as unassuming, intuitive, and steadfast. And Sho, you also knew Master Chi over a number of years because I think there's probably a handful of hidden Jedi that you brought to him. So, Ula, what went wrong? What one detail exposed the Republic delegation to Kemal Ren's group?
Someone left their transponder on. I've been tracking the signal, but I haven't been able to figure out where it is, which means that someone did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
And I'm
I was
just
gonna
like,
start checking myself, like, oh man, crap! What did? Oops.
I was
but
desperately
no, I
looking
would do
for
it on
this
purpose.
thing, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna find it before those guys get here. And then it's like, no.
okay, so
Fuck.
we open on
Egg on my face.
explosion, and Master Chi kind of turns to you, Jem, and says, "Take them all and go. Trust in the Force." and like turns, pulls out his green lightsaber, and as the group is pulling away, Elle, you're driving kind of a diplomatic transport.
Okay.
It has 2 Republic senators and a couple of security people in the back. Jem and Sho, you're kind of with this group because the Master Chi was helping facilitate this negotiation between the conservationists and the industrialists. So you're either in that van or by it. You can have other transports. We go from the explosion to Master Chi's instructions to you, Jem, and the car pulls away. And where are you that you see your master's last moments?
I'm at the back of the I'm at the back of the van, staring. And this is one of those moments where it's like you always know that your instructor your teacher is mortal, but seeing it is something else entirely. He's momentarily floored. I don't think that he expected.
Yeah.
As the person who is supposed to make sure that you stay alive, I want to make sure that you are dragged away from the van, and if you do any heroic thing of any variety, you get a trank dart to the neck.
Yeah, you probably need to drag him away to the van.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
If there's even a little resistance, it's just.
There's resistance.
And I'm going to kind of intro Kemal Ren. So Kemal has a helmet that looks like kind of the big full-faced welder's helmet with the kind of bar across here, but the bar is like red tinted, kind of shaded glass, and he has like a full. It looks like a kind of a modified version of like a welder's like really thick apron rather than like a cloak, all in kind of black matte armor. And he carries like a halberd with the like saber beam at the top, like the Imperial Guards or the Praetorian Guards that we see in The Last Jedi. So it's not a proper lightsaber. It's much heavier, and he's hitting with that blade. And Master Chi kind of uses a very efficient style, quick flicks of the blade. But Kemal Ren is like a hurricane and is all around him. And Master Chi is basically just fighting for time until Kemal kind of cuts straight through, and we get that description as Joe gave for us. Elle, you are in a small city several hours from the capital of Malastare. This is the city of Kigu. There are mountains to the north and west, forest to the south. The capital is to the east, and there are first order kind of speeders and like open top transports that are chasing after you. What do you do?
Okay, so what are the distances to the capital versus the forest? I'm assuming the capital is pretty far off.
Yeah, so to get to where the Senate ship that you all came in on is probably 2 hours by speeder, plus a little bit of traffic in the city itself.
Ooh,
and you don't know how much, how big of a first order presence is. You had received, the senators had received word of the destruction of the planets of the Hosnian system, basically just as they were wrapping up the negotiations. And so the conservationists and the industrialists are both in the city, but when the attack happened, the ambassadorial group came back to this, and you were the pilot both for the ship and for the kind of ambassadorial caravan, where there's the main speeder and a couple of escort speeders.
I'm assuming
so
this
the forest is way closer, but you could get to the forest, but it's going to be hard to pass through. Malastare is a largely industrialized planet, but there's big chunks of forest. The ground is like a purpley, kind of a purpley red by default, as we see from the Clone Wars stories.
Okay, and so right now the transport that we're in is not fully covered, you said?
It is covered. So
Okay.
you do have some protection for the ambassadors, and you know that these types of transports are pretty sturdy, but definitely not invulnerable. And you have basically there's two other security staff, both of whom are on kind of single person speeder bikes that are
Okay.
escorts to your transport.
Okay. And the mountains are how far away?
The mountains are they probably half an hour if you just go north out of the small city, because the mountains kind of do this and the forest goes this way and the city is here, and then there's industry this way, or the capital is here, and there's kind of just open grasslands to the north until you get to the mountains. You get some taiga going up into the mountains.
Okay. So so it seems like if we try to head for cover in the forest, we're going to leave a giant like trail to follow, which doesn't seem like the best idea either. Heading straight for the capital, if we get stuck in traffic, that's probably going to be an issue because we're going to be sitting ducks. The mountains, is there a lot of place to lose anybody in there, or?
You can do it.
Okay.
You're confident that you can. You'll need to break away and lose the first order troops.
Okay. And so then, in theory, probably the smartest thing would be to then break for the mountains, but then at some point within the mountains, we would want to try to head back towards the capital city. Does the computer guidance navigation system have any ways to get through there, any passes that we could look for? I'm assuming that this transport is not going to be able to go super vertical to get like over the mountains.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to try to get it all the way into the mountains.
Okay.
You can kind of try to get that nav information or ask somebody else to do so.
Sure.
But first, the pressing threat is the first order kind of land speeders and speeder bikes that are bearing down on the ambassadorial group. So what do you do?
Do I have someone on board who can man any weapon systems that we have? Does anyone have any weapon systems on?
This transport does not have any onboard weapon systems, but you have in this transport with you the rest of the party, and then there's the two security guards on speeders.
Okay.
So in the transport is the four of you, the two ambassadors, two of their kind of staff, and that's it. So it's kind of like small bus sized.
Got it. All right, so I guess what I'm going to do then is I'm going to shout back at the people behind me, hey, so I could probably get us out of this a little more easily if somebody could start going pew-pew with the people behind us. And I'm going to basically take evasive maneuvers to the extent possible while heading on a trajectory that will take us, I guess, towards the mountains, but with the ultimate goal of getting to the capital in our ship.
Okay, great. What action are you going to use to kind of get things going? Helm is probably the easiest one.
I was going to say helm seems like the most obvious choice, and so I am going to helm the crap out of this situation.
Okay, so you're going to click on helm, which should highlight, and then you are by default in a risky position.
Okay.
And you are going to have a great effect because of your pilot base ability.
Okay.
So you're going to have 2 dice by default, and I'm going to go over this for everybody. When you roll, you can push yourself by taking 2 stress to get an extra die, or instead of push, you can say, could I get a devil's bargain? You can use either of those to get +1 die. And you can get an assist from somebody who describes how they help your action. If you're assisting, you spend 1 stress, and then you give the person who's acting 1 die. Or you can also spend a gambit. So your group has 3 gambits to start. When you spend a gambit, you cannot get a gambit. Normally, if you roll a 6 on a risky roll, you add +1 to the group's gambit pool. So that's how you get gambits, and then you can spend them on any action roll. So, Valerie,
and you said that I only spend 1 stress to get an increase to the effect, but I'm already at a great effect, right?
So when you push, you could spend a 3rd stress to get both a die and effect. So your effect would go from great to extraordinary.
Yeah, which I don't know if we need to go quite that hard yet. Maybe you'll see that for later.
One of the ways that Scum and Villainy kind of builds structure is by using clocks. So you fill clocks to overcome obstacles. Right now I have a 6 clock that is basically the first order pursuit at this moment. So if you got a great effect, that would be 3 ticks of 6. If you had extraordinary, it would go up to 5 ticks.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Then we'd be like almost
Then
away.
somebody else could do basically one thing.
Okay. Can I get an assist to get a bonus die? Maybe somebody can start shooting out a window or something to try to help us lose the pursuit, or if anyone has any other abilities that can rattle our pursuers somehow.
Yeah. So would anybody like to assist? If so, tell me how and spend a stress, and you'll give Valerie X +1 die.
I'm going to take my detonator and throw it out the back.
Fantastic. So this gets
not a problem. I can't hit anything, I'll say.
So you can Scum and Villainy has this cool kind of improv equipment system where you don't have to declare that you have certain things until they show up on camera and you're using it. So this gives you a lot of flexibility. So what I'd like everybody to do is determine their load, which is basically how kitted out are you? And the more kitted out you are, the more conspicuous you are. So if you have a light load, you might look like any other citizen. If you have a normal load, you look like somebody who's going somewhere to do a job, or like active military. Heavy load is you are looking for a fight, or you're doing scoundrelly stuff. So also, if you have heavy load, that means that you are, it is a heavier load in terms of encumbrance. So you're less able to do like nimble jumping around stuff without another explanation. So everybody please tick that. And that gives you the number of boxes of load that you can then tick and say, I have this thing or I have that thing. If something is in italics, it does not cost load. So it costs 0 load. If something has 2 boxes, it costs 2 load to have that thing. So Alex, you have a detonator. So that's, I think, 1 load. You tick that. You can spend one stress, and you're going to give L a bonus die.
Okay. How do I spend the stress?
Go to your stress track, and you're going to tick the very first box.
Oh, okay.
And then as you spend stress, you're going to tick stress toward the right. If you spend the very last stress, your character is going to stress out, and you're going to basically be out of the scene and take a trauma. You'll come back at the next scene with your stress track cleared. But if you stress out, you're kind of out of the scene, and there's a lot of ways in which that can go very poorly.
Gotcha. Okay.
And normally
I didn't
you only
know
recover
we were playing
stress.
life.
But normally you only recover stress by downtime, and I don't think we're going to have that type of downtime in this game. So just you all be forewarned. So Valerie, back to you. You have +1 die from that. Are you going to push?
I am. Remind me how pushing works.
So you spend 2 stress, and then you'll get +1 die or +1 effect. Your Leaf on the Wind lets you spend instead 3 stress to get both a bonus die and bonus effect. So you can do either 2 or 3.
I will do, you know what? I'll throw 2 stress on here, so then I get 1 bonus die.
Okay, cool.
All right. So now I have 2 bonus dice.
Yep. So you take those 2 stress.
Okay.
You'll have 2 bonus dice. It's a risky position with great effect.
All right. I'm going to submit.
Okay. Boop. Cool. So that is a 6. So if you get a 6, you get a full success.
Oh, yeah.
And because you rolled a 6 on a risky roll and did not spend a gambit, the group now has 4 gambits.
All right.
Which is excellent. So people can start tapping into that.
I am a little stressed, though. I will take a daiquiri at the earliest convenience.
Right. So what does it look like as the detonator goes off and L kind of starts leading the delegation away from the First Order?
All right. I hear the detonator go off behind me, and I go, alley-oop, and I just rev it and start going as fast as I can, basically, hoping that the distraction behind me is enough to keep everyone from catching up, basically.
So is L, are you kind of like crushing or nudging other cars aside? Are you trying to kind of weave through traffic?
I am definitely weaving to the greatest extent possible, and trying not to harm any civilians, shall we say, but with the knowledge that the package that I'm carrying behind me is definitely very important. So.
Okay, cool. So at this moment, I'm going to pause and introduce our senators real quick, just so that you all can imagine them and know kind of who you're protecting. So you have 2 senators with you. Dax Chovik is a kind of a Gran elder. So Gran are the species with the 3 eyes that have little eye stalks going forward. And they are one of the 2 species that are kind of whose original home is on Malastare. The other is the Dug, the kind of bad guy pod from episode 1 is a Dug. Their top arms they use for mobility, and their bottom arms they use for manipulation, if you remember them. And so you have Senator Dax Chovik, who is non-binary. So they uses they, them pronouns. Is kind of an ex-military, kind of tired but diligent senator. The other is Senator Yare Roland, who is about 30-ish, human woman, she, her pronouns. She's got kind of light brown skin. She's like full figured with 3 braids. She's from Naboo. So she does the Naboo kind of high fashion thing. Not as fancy as a queen, but still like very kind of high femme style. And so the 2 of them are in that. And Yare looks a lot more stressed because she hasn't seen combat in the way that Senator Dax has. So the 2 of them are with you. Elle, you have kind of opened up a lead on the First Order pursuit, but those little speeder bikes are really able to kind of cut through the lanes, and you filled 3 ticks on the 6 clock. But those speeders are still coming after you. So who wants to go next? It's like just kind of describe what your character is doing to address this obstacle.
Is the back open?
It can be if you want it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Back's open. Okay. Let's see. Are they within shooting distance?
Yeah, you can get to them, especially if you have a blaster rifle, and they can reach you. But it would be harder with a blaster pistol.
Okay. I meant, are they in shooting distance of us?
Yes, but it's a hard shot.
Okay, gotcha.
Because Elle did kind of open up some of a lead.
Okay. All right. So Jem is going to move to the back. I'm going to go to the back and grab onto the side of the door so that he's putting himself physically between any incoming shots and the interior of the vehicle. I am not going to light up the lightsaber yet, but he's putting it near at hand.
Okay.
Will you light it if I'm don't die?
I'm opening. He's opening. Oh, he's basically like opening his coat lightly so that he can pull it easily if he needs to. But if they're not, if they're not shooting yet, then it's not coming out yet.
So the way that this game works is the bad guys don't roll dice.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that they are shooting.
Okay. Cool.
What action are you going to take to address the challenge they're presenting?
He's going to try and block and fire them back. He's going to fire up the lightsaber, and I think, let's see, that'd be a. Hold on a second. Is that more? I think I'm going to use. Since this is less a straight up fight and more just deflecting. I think I'm going to use a tune.
A tune, cool. So that would be. So that's more kind of focusing with the force and knocking the things back rather than kind of being active.
Yeah.
So on your sheet, I suggested that your lightsaber is an heirloom. If you like that idea, could you tell us what the lightsaber looks like and who you got it from?
Yeah, he was given to it. It was given to him by his master, and it was his master's saber. Basically, his master's master was killed in Order 666, and basically he held onto it. He already had his own, but he held onto it for a number of years. And when it came time for Jem to have his own, that became his. So he hasn't had a chance to construct his own lightsaber yet. He's still using this older one.
And what color is it?
Its color is silver.
Okay, cool. I am fully in team. Let's have lots of colors of lightsabers.
Oh yeah.
That is excellent. So why don't you give us that attune roll? You can push. You can get an assist, and that assist can be a lot of different things depending on what people want to do. And as a reminder, you do have 4 gambits.
I'm gonna take an assist.
Okay. So who would anyone like to assist in this?
I will. I'll
Okay.
take exist.
Yeah. So Joyce,
Excellent.
what does it look like when show assists here?
She'll just appear next to besides Jam and say, "Okay, I'll help you as well." And I'll take out my blaster and just use a tune as well.
Okay. You can also you don't have to roll. So if you're using a blaster, you could just return fire, or
Return
you
fire.
could do any number of other things. Yeah.
I'll
if you're
return
using
fire as well.
Yeah. Cool. So
Okay.
Joyce, you mark 1 stress for show, and then Gem, you're going to get +1 die.
Okay. Do I need to add anything to that, or?
Not unless you're going to do other stuff. So that would be a push or spending a gambit.
Push is spending stress.
Push is spending 2 stress. Correct. You get +1 die or +1 effect.
I'm going to push.
Okay. Would you like? We're going to use that for a die or for greater effect.
Let's use that for greater effect.
Okay, great. Because now you'll have a great effect. So if you hit that and don't get the reduced effect from a mixed success, you will fill the clock, and that obstacle will be overcome for the time being.
All right. So hit the roll.
Yep.
All right.
You're in a risky position still.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have great effect because you pushed for effect, and you have 1 bonus die from the assist.
All right, here we go. Effect, great. Okay, great effect, and 1 bonus die.
Yes.
Oh, oops. Oh, there. Sorry. All right, and let's do this.
Okay, so you got a 5. So basically, you do it, but there's going to be a consequence.
Okay.
And I think the consequence is going to be that you're intercepting a lot of fire, and Joyce show is kind of returning fire, but Elle, you're now getting toward the outskirts of the city, and you're basically running into like a train line, and there's a backup, so the enemies are going to catch up to you a little bit, and the concentrated fire is going to inflict level 2 harm on Gem. This is a consequence you can resist.
Okay, I'm going to resist, yeah.
Okay, so what does that look like? Is that kind of a last second block? Is it armor? Is it dodging out of the way?
I think that's a last second block. I think as that shot comes in, he's thinking of his master being carved down, and basically flicks his blade just as his master would have. Okay.
Oh, like the kind of tighter flexion. And do you fight in the style that your master fights in, or do you lean towards another lightsaber style?
He fights similarly, but he's a little more acrobatic.
Okay, cool.
Because he's younger.
Right. Cool. So when you resist,
more buckles to swash.
Normally you can either resist kind of 1 level at a time or 2 levels. I'm going to say this is a more cinematic game. You can resist 2 levels, so you'll take 0 harm. Right. But what you want to do is you're going to roll prowess as you resist, because it is about dexterity.
Okay, so I need to add anything to that, or should I just click prowess?
So you're going to click prowess, and you want a high roll.
Okay, so how many dice? No bonus dice.
No.
Okay.
Cool. So that's 5. So normally it's 6 minus the highest die, so it costs you 1 stress.
Okay.
And you make that last second parry, and that fills up the clock. Joyce, why don't you describe kind of how show kind of is dodging and moving and firing as the transport is kind of negotiating its way through the outskirts of the city.
So I'm trying to shoot at the same time using a tune, and I'm trying to stay like I'm flying because she hates flying.
Okay.
They hate flying, but it's like I'm trying to shoot as well, and it's like I'm trying to do a tune.
Okay. So the clock is full. So mostly I wanted kind of some description, because I want to make sure that everybody's getting to add some to the fiction here.
Okay.
So Elle, you're able to kind of get out of the city, and you, for the time being, have lost the First Order pursuit because you're able to kind of weave the transport through. Would you kind of play chicken to try to outrun a train, or would you do something else to lose them?
Yeah, I feel like I would play chicken and then like last minute turn.
Okay.
Kind of
so
like
yeah, I think
drift out of the way.
Yeah, so we get the transport kind of drifting out of the way of the train, and one of the speeders kind of the stormtrooper ditches the speeder to not run into the train. Another one runs into the train, and the kind of the bigger land speeder with the gun keeps on firing at the train, and kind of occasionally the blaster bolts will go through the train cars to keep on shooting at you. So they're not letting up, but for the moment you have lost them. So Ula, how are you feeling about the way this mission is going?
I'm totally upset. I'm just super upset. I let everybody know in my characteristic way of calmly telling everyone how upset I am, and that we need to get underground. Okay, so like the first thing is just not getting chased, and I know a guy. Okay, and we can get them. We can either button hook them, set up an ambush on on an alternate route, or we can get to my contact as quickly as possible. I don't know. I know a guy, so let's get out of here.
So Senator Dax says we should get back to the spaceport as quickly as possible. The people of Malastare will rally to our defense.
Like they just did? I'm sorry, but did you see a bunch of people helping your defense just then?
We did not need them in the moment because our pilot so expertly led us away, and our warriors were able to bat away the enemy. But once we have the chance to recover, we can reach out to the city guard. The First Order surely will not be lodging a full-scale invasion of the planet.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I didn't see many people coming to help us either.
And also, the First Order wouldn't assault a planet. Do we know about what happened to the Hosnian system yet?
Yeah, and so there's a
So they shot all of the planets with a big giant space laser. All of them. You think they would care about doing that to this place? Gotta get real. I'm just happy the Jedi is my client, not you two. And you don't stand in the doorway ever again like that. What is wrong with you?
I just saved their lives.
I quietly close the door.
Like an auto.
It's like,
sorry.
My heart, y'all.
So Senator Dax is very perturbed, and Senator Yare is kind of trying to grab their attention, which leaves the four of you to kind of try and talk and figure things out. The ambassadorial aides for the senators are just terrified and fairly useless at the moment.
Maybe Shaw tries to comfort them and try to reassure them that things will be okay if we can get out of it.
Right.
So it's like things will be okay. Things will be okay. Things will be
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, and you can, if you wanted to do that as an action roll, I think Doctor would probably have a pretty good effect if you like.
I'll do a doctor as well. So
Okay.
it's like I just click on it.
Yeah, I think this is a controlled position for now, though I could see how it could escalate, and you'll have a standard effect.
Okay, I click submit then.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, where is it? Okay. Bonus. Is there any bonus dice?
That would be if you push or used a gambit. The stakes on this are not super high, but if you have a greater effect, it will definitely benefit you all narratively in terms of how the kind of delegation is feeling and how they respond to you.
Okay, and I have a 1 dice, so I click submit. Okay, Doctor.
Okay, 5. So I'm going to say that it has a limited effect. So kind of so you do the thing, but it doesn't work quite as well because they're worked up. And you kind of being more experienced and being used to seeing colleagues face great loss they're in shock. Because for the senators, they're coming to grips with the fact that basically all of their colleagues are dead, and the government that they were kind of a part of building this new thing is just gone. And you think that it's hitting Senator Dax especially hard. And so you talk with them a bit and kind of are able to come back around to Ula's very logical, like no, we're at war now, and like they went all out, and
yeah, it was
Shit
total
happens.
war.
It's total war, but shit
There's
happens.
nothing to.
But things will be okay, but shit happens.
So
Did you like a glance over
sometimes
my
you get
shoulder, like,
dealt a rough hand,
right.
and your whole family dies at the exact same. It's just difficult sometimes.
So Elle, as the kind of highest ranking security, like Republic security person, you have a lot of authority in making the shot in terms of like what approach you want to take. But you also know that it's really important to not kind of railroad senators. So I'm going to leave this to you all. But basically, this is the point where you're going to try and figure out what do you do. What's your plan for getting the senators to safety?
Okay. So I'm like, so I know where the spaceport is. Where is your friend stashed? Is it far from the spaceport? Opposite direction, kind of far? Or are we talking like stop off on the way, maybe?
Well, I mean, it is near the spaceport and far from the spaceport. It's 500 meters down from the spaceport through a lot of sewer. But other than that, it's real convenient to the spaceport.
Sewer, as in, are we gonna walk through that?
I mean, we have hover stuff, and I have I tend to be well dressed, so bring your
I'm like looking at your shoes, like, are we
airtight
really
bags.
sure about that?
Hey, look, like let's just steal some speeders. You don't have to walk, just don't get in somebody's wash. That's all I'm saying.
Are you sure this is will be safe?
No, you'll probably get diphtheria.
Well,
Safe is kind of out of the question at this point.
Stealing is kind of wrong. Is there another way that we might be able to do that?
If we
have the
if we reach
authority
out to the city authorities, I'm sure that they would lend us some transports. We just have to get in touch.
The city authorities, there was a Knight of Ren on the transport to kill all of you for some reason. Okay.
I think talking to other people is a bad idea right now.
Right, exactly. There's some high-level traitor in our organization, and until we plug them, unfortunately, I can't get paid. So we need to have that discussion about that traitor.
We can have that discussion while we're moving.
Yeah, okay.
I'm definitely still driving.
Okay. So
starts and maps it.
Yeah, I think it's getting dark. So that probably the thing to do here is let me know where you're going, and we're probably going to wipe ahead to whatever that next place that you're going to.
Okay, I'm gonna casually offer to the senators. Hold on, let me see if there's any skills I could apply to this. Probably not. Maybe
consort.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe
sway.
I don't. I've got at least one in consort. Maybe that might help. Basically, what I'm gonna very calmly kind of suggest. So I'm not saying sewers are awesome, but if we do have a high-level trader, then going to the spaceport probably is not the safest bet. We may very well find someone else there who is trying to get rid of us in a very ugly way.
And Senator Yari says, I cannot imagine that we would, there's not that many of us, and Nade has been with me my entire professional life, but we were just in meetings. and you know that the group had just come from meeting with both the ecological group and with the industrial group.
Mm. Yeah, I think I'm going to sway the senators to understanding that they need to come underground with us, because I know that this Jedi is not going to leave a bunch of helpless senators of democracy alone.
Okay.
I would love him to just leave, but I need to take the senators with me.
You guys are really important right now. I mean, they're going to keep coming after us until we're gone.
We've got to get you out of. We've got to get you out of here.
And
Yep,
Senator
exactly.
Yari says, if you can get us to the spaceport, I know that Queen Iona will offer us safety on Naboo. And what Elle, you would know that Naboo has recently remilitarized because they really got sideswiped when the Empire rose, because they thought, oh great, our senator is now the Grand Chancellor, is now the Emperor, and the lesson that the leadership of Naboo, both the kind of Nabooans and the Gungans, learned was that they're never going to be caught in surprise again. So the two militaries are like, they work very closely together, and of any of the kind of Republic states, they are going to have a greater individual military force.
Okay, so Naboo sounds like a good idea, basically.
Like that, of things you can think of right now, it seems pretty solid if you can get off planet.
Okay, so I think Naboo sounds like a great idea, honestly, but at the same time, going straight to the spaceport in this particular transport, probably not safe.
So I think what we can do, you could do a group action, like group consort, group sway, command if it was like mostly intimidation or something. You don't really have the authority in the situation to command all of them. But if one of you has consort and one of you has sway, maybe the thing to do is that one of you is rolling and the other is using that other action to assist. So that's going to be up to you all to decide how you want to address it. If it's a group action, then what the scene looks like is you all as a group kind of having that conversation and convincing the senators to go along with it. And you also have the security staff who you have on comms on the speeders, and you know that their speeders are going to run out of fuel much faster than your big transport will. So how would you all like to kind of formulate a plan and get the senators on board?
I think a group action sounds like a good idea, because we're all kind of participating in this argument right now. We all seem like we're on board with the plan.
Yeah, cool. Nobody's arguing with the senators.
Right. So that's going to be the easiest if you all figure out which action the most of you have at least one or more dice in. And the way that we do a group action is everybody who participates rolls. One person is leading the action, and we take the highest die from all of the different dice that are rolled. But every person that doesn't at least roll a 4 gives the group leader one stress. So if you have 0 in an appropriate action rating, it may not be super helpful to be a part of the group action, but you can push to get 1 die. Or you can take a gambit or something like that. So everybody kind of builds their own pool, then we roll all of them together and look for the highest dice.
I have 1 each in command and consort.
Okay.
So
I got a sway of 2.
Sway of 2. Okay. How about Jim and Show?
I have nothing in either command, consort, or sway.
Okay.
I have consort.
Okay,
I have consort.
Two different people with consort, but one person with sway of 2. I think at this point it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. It's a question of how do you all as players want your characters to address this, and how are we going to build that together?
I feel like swaying sounds like it sounds like we're trying to sway them, because we're trying to persuade them to do what we want them to do, and that seems more like that's what that is.
So that could be Ula rolling sway, and then other people spending 1 stress to assist as you like.
Spend 1 stress to assist.
Okay. So,
yeah, I'll spend a stress to assist.
Okay, so that's 2 bonus dice for Ula at least.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give him another one, sure.
Okay, so that's 3 bonus dice for you, Alex, for Ula's roll.
Okay, excellent. And let me just make sure that I don't have. Okay, I don't have anything else. All right. So what is my input position?
So this is risky for you because your contract is with the Jedi.
Right.
So you're kind of going a little uphill, but you've kind of articulated, you have a very specific plan that you're trying to get them bought in on. So you're gonna have a standard
Gotcha.
effect.
Okay.
Because you have like, here's my contact, here's the specifics, here's why it applies.
Gotcha. And then 2 bonus dice.
3 actually, I think.
3 bonus
Each
dice.
of the other players assisted. And that definitely makes sense for a scene where you all come together to get the group bought in on this approach.
Okay, for me, I just want to ask, like, for me, it's my position is risky, right?
So only one person is rolling.
Oh,
So
one person's rolling.
Yeah, so just Alex
okay.
is going to roll for Ula because we decided to go with a single roll because if you do a group action and most of the people don't have that action, it can be really hard to succeed.
Oh, it's okay.
All right. So I'm gonna hit submit.
Yep. All right.
we
Fingers
go.
crossed for good. Okay. So that's 3 5s. Yeah, I think the thing that is hard here is that the senators don't really know or trust you, and so they're going back and forth with each other and talking with Elle and basically Elle, are you driving toward the city while you're convincing people? Because it's taking you all a while to convince them.
Yeah, let's say that I am trying to, I'm going towards basically where Ula wants us to go.
I've got maps and charts.
It's on the way to the spaceport. So if we decide not to go to this place, we're still going to the spaceport. So that's generally what I'm doing. And I'm trying to do it in a way that, I don't know to what extent I'm able to watch for tails or, take sort of an evasive route, but yeah.
Okay.
So I want to direct you to the MAR, the Municipal Access Road, which is used by the authorities to maintain the sewers, not be in the sewers.
Okay. And so then I think the next hurdle is going to be that a few hours in, or actually an hour in, you're kind of going around and back toward the city. It's now kind of nightfall, but not full night, and the speeders are out of gas.
Oh.
So you have to kind of pause to either try to refuel them out of the tank or something else.
Or just bring them on board and keep going.
Right.
What do we want to do?
Okay. And do you just leave the speeders behind? What are you doing with them?
Can we refuel them from inside the ship?
You can, but that means that if you have to do a lot of much driving once you're in the city, you could run the risk of going dry.
We might need to stop at a gas station.
A Star Wars gas station.
How do we get to a gas station? That's what the Mos Eisley Cantina was. It was just like a pilot.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely, you can hit a fuel station on the way to the city. The thing that's going to happen if you do that is, I don't know, something.
Something.
We're at 8:30, so we have about 2 hours. So we moved a little faster than I expected, which is fun. So I'm gonna do stuff along the way. So
would you like something to happen? I mean, we could.
Does anyone want a snack? I mean,
I want to eat.
I want to go get a Slim Jim.
Someone grab me a Dr. Pepper. Like, just picturing my character standing outside holding like a gas thing and just like.
Well, and show, especially that the diplomats could definitely use like a sit down meal or like a little bit of more time to calm down, because they're still dealing with a lot, and like that the Jedi has just suffered a great loss, and so time to let the group collect themselves a bit could be useful, but you would also know that that's going to expose everybody to threat. Any amount of slowing down.
Do we have tea on board? Tea as in hot tea.
Hot tea. I don't think that this transport is
What kind of
quite that fancy.
transport is this?
Like it's an ambassadorial transport, so it's kind of like it's like a Star Wars equivalent of like a short limo. So it doesn't quite have that fancy of facilities.
Because show wants to make everyone tea, like
Right.
calm everyone down and drink tea. Think about the next step, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you could definitely find like a
Mm.
gas station that's going to have some kind of like small cafe.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
Is
pull
it-
up Google Maps. Let's get this going.
Well, it can't all be cantinas, right? There's the diner in episode 2.
Diner, yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I think
stupid.
Space
there could be
Diner.
and that would let you refuel so that you could have the speeders active as well.
And to be quite conspicuous, people can
Yes.
know who we are. So
That is the downside.
can
If
I do
any-
a study? Can Show do a study around because they feel that something's not right and they are looking around.
Well, I think you also have a special ability that goes with this, right?
Yep, I have special
visions?
ability. Visions. Yep, I have visions.
So if you wanted, you could basically you can refer to maps and charts, or
Yes, I'm
you
sure.
could like meditate and use like force intuition or force sight to like find a place by honing in on the signature of people like breaking bread or in fellowship, or you could have a vision of like some place at the spaceport or something.
I have a vision. Okay, vision. I have a vision of something bad happening. It's like
Okay.
a very strange, like nebulous feeling, but a kind of vision of something falling, breaking apart, and us running for our lives.
Okay.
And
I start working on my quick change disguise then.
Yeah, this basically had to run. I kind of approached like Jem say, I think we have to run. I think we have to go. Something bad will happen. There's something not right with the force. There's something wrong with the force.
So Joyce, that's a 1 stress vision for you to use that ability.
Yes.
Okay, so
should we not stop for gas?
So yeah, you have a warning kind of as you're approaching a place where you could stop.
Maybe we want to just load the speeder folks on and keep going.
Okay.
I think
Do we want to maybe act like they are going to stop for gas and then just have them jump on our ship and we gun it and get out of here?
That sounds good.
That sounds good, but we had to do it now, soon.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, so pull over at the gas station as if we're going to stop and get gas, but I just like jack open the back and tell the speeder folks to ditch their rides and get on.
Okay. So the two security kind of pull in and they ask to take the 2 backmost seats by the doors, so that they can still be covering an exit.
Yep, that sounds a good idea.
And then I think the consequence is that when there's a flyover of a first order TIE fighter, they identify your truck.
Oh hell.
Yep.
So that is something. So that's something that somebody could resist if you can describe how you duck that out, either by.
How many other vehicles are there at this station?
There are there's probably 2 other land speeders and about 3 like single speeders, like swoop style speeders.
So there are cars that we could all take, split up and rendezvous. I want to use Sway to come up with a plan that we can use to trick this TIE fighter into chasing the wrong car.
Okay, yeah, you could definitely use Sway to lead them off. Are you leading them off to follow one of you in a different car, or are you tricking them to think that the whole group is somewhere else? Like, what's the result?
Do either of the speeder pilot, can they fly this transport? Either of the ones who are on the speeder?
They can, but you know that they don't have as much training as you do.
No, but I'm saying, so what if we go with Ula's plan, then we have one of them take this transport while we go grab a bunch of other vehicles.
It's
Um,
quite patriotic of them.
Yep. Elle, you have a sense that if you ask them to do this, you're probably asking them to die for the Republic.
Okay, then I probably
Oh.
wouldn't. Sorry, guys.
You've worked with them, and they will probably do it. But
Yeah,
you know that's what you would be asking them to do.
Oh,
No.
I would not be able to
to.
make that call.
Ula, you're dealing with all of these idealists, and
I know.
Sorry, you got too many cinnamon rolls on this transport, my friend.
Do you know what a guard does? Come on.
They guard.
Yeah, that's what the. Okay, fine.
On the plus side, with 2 more gunners on board, hopefully we can shoot things that are.
Having someone able to throw their life away is not the same as
will
asking them
do
to.
it. I will do it. I will do it.
okay.
Y'all get out of here, and I'm gonna start making myself look like the oldest, most decrepit car thief that ever was.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Go. I'll meet
So-
you at this location.
So you're Ula is gonna pilot the original transport, and who's going in what else? Or are you gonna lead them off?
I'm
with
gonna
different
lead them
vehicles?
off alone. I'm gonna lead them off with the wounded transport that's got the blaster holes in the side and all the smoke trails down the back, because I'm somebody who saw these people abandon this thing, and I think I'm gonna take it home with me is the story.
Okay.
So I want to steal this car, and I don't know why these Imperial troops are after it. And when they corner me, I'm just gonna pull over.
Okay. Okay. So what do the rest of you all do?
When he's about to head off, I grab his hand and I say, "You be careful."
You stay away from me. I'm gonna attract a lot of bolts. All right, buddy. All right. Be
Oh,
careful too, though.
Oh.
I'm starting to feel like I should be the one doing that. Man,
so-
No, we need you here.
As Ula and Jem are talking, Elle, you see Senator Yare kind of hand some credits over to somebody and get the kind of the fob for another transport. It's big enough for you all, but it is basically it has like a canvas top.
Ah, no.
Oh.
Oh.
But
That's
that's
not
that's,
Oh,
the, that's the
what?
toughest. It's the toughest other transport you can find.
Oh.
Uh,
Oh.
Y'all ready
But
for
you
some
can-
Indiana Jones?
You can load everybody into it.
Oh, Quizneck. Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Make it work.
Ula,
This
why don't you give
is-
us a sway roll to lead off the first order fighter?
Okay. This seems risky, doesn't it?
I would say
yeah.
I would actually say that this is desperate.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay. I also generate gambits on desperate rolls. I don't know what a gambit is other than a guy who
So
throws
that's-
cards, but
So you all as a group have 4 gambits, and each gambit can be spent to give yourself a +1 die on a roll. You can only spend 1 gambit per roll, but you have gained 1 and spent 0. So you could definitely spend a gambit on this roll if you're so inclined. It's
Right.
a group resource.
okay.
that you all
So
decide.
would we expect the first order folks to basically try to shoot the transport down from orbit, or to try to stop and like question whoever's driving it? Do we have any way of knowing?
that is a toss-up.
Okay.
You would guess that because of the first order, like if they could capture the like diplomatically, I think both Elle and Ula would probably be able to come to this read. If the first order can bring some remnants of the Senate and fold them into first order hierarchy, that grants them some more social legitimacy.
Hmm.
No.
Hmm.
So they do
They're
want to
worth
be
more
captured
alive.
Yeah.
the senators are. The Jedi is not.
Yeah. So yeah. So you're in a bad. I'm just trying to think of if I can rig the transport to do anything interesting at any point, whether to make it look more crippled than it is,
Hmm.
or to maybe make it explode.
TV can.
So I am meanwhile just grabbing any, I'm taking the oil rags, from our beat up truck and like dipping them in crap, rolling around in the dirt, all this other stuff. And I'm going on this disguise big time.
So the thing I'll say, Valerie, is that we also have the flashback system in this game.
Right, yeah.
So if you get
Okay.
to a point where Ula's doing something with the transport, we could flash back to you having also done something to help. If you don't want to do it at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of what would be useful to do, but we'll put a pin in that and see what happens to Ula, and then
Okay.
we'll flash
So
back to whatever exciting plan I had to account for it.
So why don't we go to Ula's sway roll? So you're in a desperate position, but you're gonna have standard effect. You can spend gambit, stress, and/or get assist from others if somebody else is doing something that have like a material impact on throwing off suspicion.
I'm trying to think of what you're supposed to help with when I'm like, I'll go it alone.
I think if I could see L doing something in terms of how to drive or arrange the ship that might help. I could see Sho doing like Jedi mind trick or force mind trick on some people that might sell some of the scene if the First Order is like tapping into comms in the searching.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So part of the assist to make this work is that y'all are going to have to actually lay low. So if anybody has any ability to skulk, for example, or sway.
Yeah, I think skulk and sway and helm all could apply
Helm.
here as a framing for what you're doing.
I definitely can helm. I can helm the crap out of this, but I cannot skulk for.
Yeah, I think that could, one stress in that can represent you're making it easier because you're driving away. You're separating the targets.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah. Okay. So is that 3 bonus dice?
So if you spend 1 for a gambit and you get 1 for an assist, for another one, you would either take a devil's bargain or push.
Okay. And push is I take 2 stress or accept a devil's bargain. Yeah, no, I'm going to take the 2 stress. We're going to see how that goes.
Okay.
1, 2. Okay.
So that gives you 3 bonus dice on your sway.
Oh man, my roll thing went away. Crap.
Yeah, you gotta load it up again. Just do it over.
Okay, so it's risky. Standard effect. How many dice? 4 now?
So this was a desperate position.
Oh, I think that's what I said. Did I not?
You said
risky.
Oh, did I say risky? My bad. All right, here we go.
Desperate position, standard effect. 3
standard
bonus
effect.
Dice.
How many bonus dice?
3.
3 bonus dice. Let's hit it.
And there's not 1 6, but 2 6s.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So you have the ability where you get a gambit even if you spend a gambit. Is that
right?
Do you have
That's
that?
correct. Yes,
so
that was a gambit neutral maneuver.
The group still has 4 gambits. So not only does the First Order think that the group is all still in that transport, what do you do to convince? Or actually, I think they follow you, and they tell you to pull away, to pull off the road. Would you pull off the road?
Oh yeah. I pull off the road, and I am a terrified, tiny old man.
Okay. And what do you tell them when they come up and they're like,
and I'm just
we're looking for criminal diplomats. Have you seen a Gran and a Naboo woman?
Have I seen a criminal politician? Is that what you're asking me? Like I get out and I go all down the truck and are you serious right now? Hey, I found a free truck. Y'all want me?
I think the bonus you get for a crit is that you occupy them for like 10-15 minutes just through like kind of social stickiness in that way that if you're really savvy you can hold somebody's attention.
You're showing them the tires. Look at this thing. It's in great shape.
So,
I mean, it's got some blaster marks, but
right. And all the while I am trying to find out who their command structure is. I want to know which general knew about this.
Okay. So
So my
think what they'll-
familiarity, hopefully, with Imperial rankings will get me.
yeah, I think all you get is that the kind of this op is being led by Commander Cadmux Dane.
Sounds like somebody needs to pay the commander a visit.
Um,
That's crazy. Where y'all garrisoned at?
We've taken up position in the city, but you don't have to worry about that.
All right.
Just go about your business, and if you see any traders from the False Republic, just be sure to report that to the nearest First Order trooper station.
Yeah, of course, man.
So
Alright.
they
Free
can't really,
truck.
they don't know much what to do with you, and you're able to pull a fair bit of information out of them before they tell you to move along. So I think we'll cut to Elle and
Move along.
your somewhat rickety. It's not too rickety. It's way less defensible, right? And a very full transport, so it's a little bit weighed down. What do you do?
Well, I'm driving towards the rendezvous point at this point. Again, just trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, especially now that we're in a completely different transport. I'm trying to see, because I can command. Maybe I try to lead a sing-along to calm everyone down.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the Naboo senator kind of catches what you're putting down and helps out trying to cheer people up. But the grand senator is really kind of stone-faced and not easily moved here, and is still in a pretty sour mood. Jem, how are you holding up? You've got time. You've got enough time now to kind of for your thoughts to come back to something like, how does Jem hold up in a situation like this?
Well, I mean, he's been taught. I'm sure he's seen his share of shit, but he's definitely he's in that state of visually trying to keep it together and probably doing less of a good job than he thinks he is. I think he's trying to keep it. I think he's trying to keep it down by just focusing very hard on what he's doing, and it's starting to make him a little stir crazy because there's not that much for him to do right now.
So what was the last time you felt kind of this cabin fevery when you were kind of doing missions with Master Chi?
The last time was the ship they were in was parked on basically like the dark side of a moon of a no atmosphere moon, waiting for a rendezvous, and there was nothing to do but sit. There was nothing to do but sit and talk. And I think as he starts to think about that, he takes a deep breath and remembers that it's at times like this when one should reach for the Force and commune with it. And so I think he's going to sit down and he's going to close his eyes and try and refocus himself.
So Joyce, what is one of the lessons that, from your perspective, the Jedi have misunderstood about the Force?
The Force moves. The Force is fluid. It always moves. So to sit down and think, you're putting yourself in a state of stagnancy. We are stagnant now. We need to move.
So do the Guardians then do like moving meditation? Like how does that manifest in Guardian practice?
It's like the Guardian practice is I try to comfort the aides, the assistants, and the ambassadors, but seeing that it's not really working well, I go into like something like a Tai Chi, like kind of slow moving breathing Qigong exercise to center myself, but still keeping an eye on things, because I still feel that something's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think you between Elle and the senator and Show, you're able to kind of get people a bit more together. And I think so. Ula, did you give a rendezvous point in the sewer or like at the entrance? Like where are they going to meet you?
Where would be more convenient for you? Actually, that's a.
I think my inclination is to take a break here in a minute, and then we'll come back on kind of the group moving forward with Ula's plan in terms of meeting that contact.
Okay.
So I think, but before we go to break, why don't we quickly show, even just in like summary montage, you reuniting with the Republic, and where would that be?
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I would give them a location to the outside of this secret hideout, knowing full well that they would almost certainly be captured but not killed by the overwhelmingly amazing military presence there. I don't know. I don't know if it's a military presence or if it's just gangsters or what, but I'm just like, it's fine. If they just get near this place, they'll get dragged in and I'll meet them there.
Okay. And I think because you got a crit, you were able to hold the First Order's attention for as much time as you wanted, not too much. And you've done enough on Malastare that you're able to get there. And what we'll do is we're going to come back from the break as the gangsters basically are getting ready to kind of cuff up the Republic softies, because it's like there's like 20 of them. They just rolled right in, and things are about to go bad for them. And then Ula shows up, and we will pick up with that when we come back from break. So, hey, folks that are watching, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who's listening to the podcast. And for folks watching live, we're going to just take about a 5-minute break. And Greg should be able to pull us to a break card, and then we'll come back with the rest of Star Wars: A Hidden Hope. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to pause and mute these folks. There we go. Okay, so, and I'm going to jump over to a break screen right here. So you are listening, as Mike just said, to Speculate, a joint Speculate and Twitch channel presentation. We hope you are enjoying it as much as we are enjoying it with these wonderful players and wonderful GM. And if you are, I hope you will consider not only following the channel and subscribing to the channel and supporting the Patreon and doing all that good stuff that we talked about before, but I hope you will also consider supporting the authors as well. And of course, Mike, who's GMing this, because all of them are awesome people and you should definitely check their stuff out. And again, we will try to talk more about that when we come out of there. One quick note I want to make too about the, just before we go on break, I did want to note for both the Speculate crew and for I guess the Twitch folks, I just wanted to note the passing of two very important people today. Rene Aubergenois, who of course was Odo in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He was also Benson, for those of you who remember that. Very good actor for a long time. Passed away today, which is very sad. I had not heard about him being ill or anything else, but he was in his 80s, and so I was very sorry about that. And I was also very sorry to hear of the passing of Carol Spinney, who played, of course, Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch. A really, really good guy who told some amazing stories about really making children's lives a lot happier. And he did that job as Big Bird for a very long time. So very sad that both of them passed, I think, within a day of each other, either today or yesterday. So I wanted to note the passing of both of those with sadness, condolences to the families and so forth. And I was sorry to hear about that. But I thought it was important to mention it because of various things that we do on this channel with narrative, story, and the like. Now that said, I'm going to let everyone here be on break. We will be away for a few minutes, and then we'll be right back. So in the meantime, please hang tight. We'll be right back to you.
friends. Once more it seems that this will never end. Seems that I've faced this way before. But I was old and slow. I'm so much younger than I was, I know. I've learned to look for something more. I see the places hurt, the open wounds which keep within the dirt, the ones reopen every year. Leave it alone, you'd say. Leave it behind, face it another day. The time has come to face this here. A sky above me spinning past. The ground below me holds me fast. Wherever now, where will I go? Oh, oh. Oh, step for one time, step two care, step between mine, step for the hair. Step for one time, step two care, step three mine, step for the hair. Oh, step for one time, step two care, step three mine, step for the hair.
Okay, and we are back, everyone. And there's me jumping in again and interrupting. I apologize. I know you were all talking about something fascinating. Welcome back, everybody, from break. And I am going to move back over to that screen so we can see our intrepid adventurers ready to go once more. And yeah, I just one quick note before you all get started again. I agree with that, Rock God, about you folks, the players, and Mike did not hear me talking about the passing of Renee Aubergenois and the passing separately, the passing of Carol Spinney, who was Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch. And that may not have much of a connection to science fiction, but it has an enormous connection to my kids and growing up. And Spinney was a really wonderful guy. So I did want to mention that. And someone else mentioned the passing of D.C. Fontana, longtime Star Trek author. So I wanted to mention those three very significant passings for different reasons. I don't know. It's important to note those things as we go by. Despite playing games, life continues in other areas, and I wanted to note that as we go on. That said, I do not want to bring down the action of this super exciting, awesome Star Wars Scum and Villainy game, so I will now pass this back over to Mike and see whether or not these four individuals can continue to move forward and strike back in the way that they've been doing, in a roguish way. I'm sure they will do that. So I'm going to get on out, and Mike, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, and we are back with Speculate, a Hidden Hope, Star Wars one-shot using Scum and Villainy from Off Guard Games. Thank you to everybody who is watching and folks who are listening. So when we last left our kind of fate-tossed group, the Republic delegation and most of the party had just kind of rolled up to, I think it's probably like side tunnel in like a cliff face that has a bit of like kind of scoundrelly building life built around it. And that was the rendezvous point that that Elle and company were given, and kind of just disembarking. And there was quite a lot of fairly active seedy gangsteriness, giving you all a pretty hard time and hassling you. And Ula pulls up just as the gangsters are kind of moving to capture you. Basically, the thing you've been told, Elle, Show, and Jem, is you can come along quiet, or you can come along dead, or you can come along unconscious at best. You want to come along quiet.
Hello, I'm here. I'm so sorry. Put the guns down, please. Oh yes, and it's just as I'm walking past the gangsters, I'm just brushing the guns down. Like, no, they're friends. It's fine. Hey, where's Chris? Is anyone?
So are you in a kind of a mien that these scoundrels would recognize, like a recognizable criminal ID?
Oh yes, I look beautifully disrespectable.
Okay.
Okay. I look scoundrelicious. That's where I'm at.
Scoundrelicious.
Scoundrelicious.
That's tattooed on your knuckles. That's
right. I got the Bowie pants, but the low-cut shirt, the whole thing.
So I think because you're a scoundrel, and because you introduced this detail earlier, I think we'll go ahead and establish that kind of you have this ID set, and you're able to get the group inside. So who is Chris, and how do you know them?
It's actually Aura, who is a sibling of mine. Ula and Aura, I guess. I'm gonna go with a blood sibling.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a blood sibling. I'm gonna go with it's someone I don't actually want to call a favor to.
Okay.
I'm actually really not enjoying this part because Aura is the only person who truly actually knows me. And Aura delights in making me horribly uncomfortable. And as long as, and if Aura does reveal anything about my true identity to any of you, as long as you don't make it out of the building, I'm still a Mandalorian. So,
let's go.
If she does get a little chatty for your own safety.
Alex, for my sake, is Ula also Mandalorian, or did you join the Mandalorians kind of on your own?
I'm gonna say I was thrown out of home and starving to death, and someone was like, I've seen you take every stupid gamble, and I think you could face down just about anything. And then it was like, I'm not a homeless person, I'm a Mandalorian.
Okay.
In the way of the shadow. You thought I was just regular.
So I think Aura is kind of mid-level fixer and kind of mid-boss in the local syndicate, and you haven't talked with Aura in a couple years now.
No, and she doesn't do like the fabulous disguises and fashion stuff. She's a real Wizard of Oz, like, I'm the info broker.
Okay. But in that style, as you walk in, she's already been informed. And so Aura is there and kind of throws open her arms. Ula, my darling, it's been so long. Thank you so much for coming. I couldn't be happier to share my great hospitality with you. So how have the winds of fate kind of fluttered you into my nest?
Jem is eating this up.
Well, see, here's an issue. we're being hunted because someone has punctured my operation. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. There, it's out, it's in the air. Somebody got past. I don't know how. They turned on a transponder. Here we are, and this is a huge problem for me. I won't get paid unless we plug that mole, but of course, by custom, you can have half now.
Deck, pinch me. I must be dreaming. My dearest, impossibly confident, endlessly competent sibling has admitted a failure in front of company.
It's not a failure until he's dead. Just do not kill him for that. He doesn't deserve that.
And
I like lean closer to the Jedi, like
And who are these?
no,
they look very
He's
respectable.
talking about me.
Should I be sending them off for a ransom? Is that my half?
Well, you know.
No.
I mean, no.
The answer is no.
Of course not. Not you. You're the contract. These other senators are very nice people. They're super peaceniks. I know that matters sometimes to you. Sometimes.
So both of the senators look very unhappy to be here, but are staying quiet for now.
Look, they're in the frequent kidnapping club. Just stamp their cards, and if we can get them off world, it would be nice. But this big oaf won't go anywhere with me until they do. I don't know if he's big. Are you a big oaf, Jedi?
He's about. I think he's actually about average sized.
What is it?
For a human.
This good-looking Jedi. This average-sized person. And this hunk of lightsaber isn't going until we can clear this whole thing with the senators. So if we can get them off world, I can get him away. If we can chase down the mole, then he still owes me money, and you can have half. Or him. If he decides not to pay.
Yeah, there is that question, because the Jedi Order was paying Ula to basically do counterintelligence for you. And you knew roughly about the contract that they have. But since Master Chi was their contact, that kind of now falls to you, and you'll have to take it back to the kind of the senior leadership.
Okay.
How big do you think the Hidden Order has grown since about I think it starts basically? I'm using the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video game and going forward with the idea that character and some other people then form a Hidden Order. So that's probably starting around 14 before Battle of Yavin, which is now about 40 something years ago. How many Jedi in the Hidden Order do you think there are at this point?
I think there's probably not a ton. It's probably about the size, I would say, of any kind of reasonably sized special operations division kind of thing or operation. Because I mean, yes, they've had time to get more people on board, but at the same time, it's a very high risk profession. It's
so like a couple dozen.
Yeah, a couple dozen sounds about right.
Okay, just kind of in terms of scope here. So yeah, the loss of Master Chi is like a very noticeable loss.
Significant.
Because Chi was one of the more senior Jedi, as in terms of like being just 2 generations removed from the old order. So I think, Ula, I think you're going to have to either convince Aura to do this, or you're going to get over a can in terms of what it costs you. So this is where you're going to wheel and deal.
Okay, so I want to convince Aura that the Hidden Order actually has a lot of credits just stored away, and I'm like, shush your pretty mouth if you do not try to help me with this negotiation.
Jem is staying silent, but just kind of watching as the thing he's on the hook for just grows and grows and grows.
Yep.
And I'm like, think about it this way. Ever since the destruction of Jeddah, who has more kyber crystals than the Jedi? Okay, wouldn't you like to have them as a permanent client? I mean, they're going to be mounting a huge resistance. Resistances are built on hope and money.
Well, considering what I've heard about the Hosnian system, it's going to be hard to do business with anyone that isn't the First Order or the Hutts.
Well,
So I'm not
great,
sure that you're
yeah.
getting me in with the best of friends there.
You know what? I'm gonna give an impassioned speech about how the Jedi have always triumphed over very specific odds, and try and downplay Order 66 as much as possible.
Yeah, well, like, Master Luke Skywalker, is a galaxy-wide hero.
Right.
Um,
This guy looks like he could be a galaxy-wide hero, right?
so what action are you going to use to
I'm
to
gonna
kind
use
of
sway.
to sell aura on this? Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna use sway.
So I
All
think you're in a risky position because there are a lot of things, like there's a lot of ways that aura could make this go bad for you, but it's not desperate because you are family.
Right, right. So there's a chance that she might not want the Jedi, but the senators.
Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways that this could go wrong.
What's
But
the
if you roll,
effect?
you're going to have, I think it would be great, except that there's two paychecks staring her down that you're going to have to convince her to not take.
Hey,
So it's a standard effect.
standard effect. Can I say that, like, after we leave, you just tell them where we were and collect? There are a billion witnesses. These are valuable tips.
I would give you a die for that as a devil's bargain.
Okay.
In terms
great.
of you're kind of selling out their position a bit more to get the initial support.
Right.
Like, this is an extra payday for you as an info broker.
Yeah, just get rid of us, get us off world, and us having been here recently is just as good for you as us having been here right now. Take a smaller paycheck, and then the sum total will be much better.
So how do you all feel about this, and is anybody interceding for or against Ula's efforts?
Show is just going, not but very doubtful, but something can go awry.
Listen, the Guardian hasn't felt okay since we got here, and the human barometer is usually right, so.
And I think the senators are kind of whispering back and forth. And
what, you never struck a deal before, guys?
Jem is actually going to try. He's actually going to try and calm the senators down a little bit.
Okay, I think you can kind of occupy their attention at least enough to not have it take away from Ula's efforts.
It's fine. I'm the collateral, not you.
Please,
Alex,
you could speak to them loftily, like senators understand.
You could also spend a gambit for a bonus die here, and you've got your devil's bargain die.
Okay, so that's 1, 2 dice.
That would give you 2 bonus dice if you spend a gambit.
2 bonus dice if I spend a gambit. And I'm gonna go. This isn't desperate. I feel bad for spending group resources on this. What do you say?
It's fine. You still have 3 gambits after this.
All right. I can do something real stupid and generate another one. Oh.
All right. So there is 1 6 there, but that's all you need. So I think the thing that does it is the story of the Jedi. Is like, because Luke Skywalker's legend is still kind of out there, and Luke hasn't come out of hiding. So like, he's an ace in the hole that the Republic theoretically has.
Right.
And you sold that. You're selling the Jedi here, and she likes the idea that she can kind of sell information to bounty hunters that are clearly going to be after these senators, but still get the payday from the New Republic or the Jedi for getting them off. So now is where I ask the team, so you all as players, what is the plan type for getting you all off of the planet? So on a character sheet, we go down to, where's the type of plan? So planning and load. So just under your load, there is choose a plan, provide the detail, choose your load for the operation. So there's 6 types of plans. Assault, where you just go in guns blazing, and for that you need the point of attack. Deception, you need the way that you are deceiving your way through a situation. You have infiltration, which is like sneaking into a thing, and for that you need an entry point. Mystic is using kind of the force/arcane powers to achieve a thing. That one tends to be a little bit more nebulous, but I could definitely entertain an idea on how that works. Social is using a social connection. That would be like, that might be aura, knowing the person at the docks who could get you in the back way, kind of thing. You're kind of using a social plan right now to get the detail for the next plan, but I didn't want to go through all of those steps. And the last plan type is transport, which is basically the type of plan that you all used to get out of the city at the start of the adventure. So what type of plan is this group going to take to get to the ship or a ship and off the planet?
I recommend social connection. We can pretend to be food and get loaded by the caterers.
Okay.
Okay.
What are the skills that we're gonna have to use to do that? Because we may not have them.
So basically, we're going to use the engagement roll to see where you start, and then in this type of game, we basically jump to the action as things become more complicated. And if you roll really well on the engagement roll, you encounter an obstacle, but you are still in a controlled situation to begin with. And if the roll goes poorly, things get hard really fast and you end up in a desperate situation. Otherwise, you reach a hurdle and you're in a standard risky situation. So if you're using a social plan, you're probably going to end up doing things like sway and consort, or when things break bad, then you're using either skulk or some combat skills or something like that, depending on basically what overall approach you're using, and then how would you likely respond when new challenges come up.
I definitely have a lot more prowess. I've got helm, scramble, scrap, but I do have a little bit of command and consort.
Almost everything I have is in prowess, so.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm pretty proud up.
So yeah, you could also, you could use, or it could help you in finding the right place to lead people in and just shoot your way to a ship. I think as an infra broker, we have the fictional positioning to be able to set up any number of plans depending on what you all, the characters, want as a manifestation of what you all, the players, want from this kind of finale scene in terms of what's this going to look like. And then
like
we
some
build
kind
a die
of
pool and we roll and we go right into it. So I don't want to spend too much time here.
I like the,
what's the transport option?
That's basically that is more about like driving or flying through a thing to a thing. So that would be if you were going to take that speeder and like fly or like Fast and the Furious through the city.
Are there like Imperial blockades or anything like that? We're just worried about spies in the spaceport, yeah?
I think as part of the conversation, Aura would tell you that the First Order has a heavy presence in the city.
So we need something that they're not going to shoot for coming and going.
Yep.
Food, then.
That would seem...
We can go as food.
Yep.
Well, either that or we could just take somebody else's ship.
Because it's Star Wars, even if you're disguised as food, there's probably still a good opportunity for running, shooting, and other standard Star Wars actions.
I can drive anything, so whatever you want me to drive, I'm here for.
Social and transport both seem like solid options. What are you all thinking?
Yeah, if in this social route, that would be where we would try to get, like you said, some kind of alternate entry vehicle posing as. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't have to be food. I mean, we just convince somebody to load us on board a ship and take it over.
Right. Yep. And I think this is also probably when you want to decide, are you trying to get to the ambassadorial ship or some other ship?
Ooh,
well, the First Order is orbiting this planet. What if we take one of theirs?
That would certainly make the back end of leaving easier. It might be harder to get into our commandeer.
Yeah.
So there's some risk reward there.
You
So-
know, as long as I can help soften these people up before you come in there, Laser Sword, I think we might be able to stand a chance. I'd like to take down whatever defenses they have, and then we send in the magic Jedi.
I feel like maybe some kind of civilian transport might be a better idea, or just something that is not the ambassador ship, because I feel like that's going to be
I agree.
watched.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I feel like if we try to steal a first order ship, yeah, maybe we have the handshake codes on board or something to get us out faster. But then you're relying on me or one of us pretending to be a first order person that.
Wait, no, I'm not looking to steal from the First Order directly. I
eh,
want to steal from the collaborators.
Hmm.
I want to steal
Mm.
from the contractors that work for these bootlicking scumbags. If they want to destroy the galaxy, that's great. I'm happy screwing up their business.
I can get behind that.
I'm with you. Let's do
I'm
that.
okay.
So
Okay.
All right.
you're trying to get steal a ship from somebody that you found out was working with the First Order.
Yeah.
Preferably someone who helped bring them here.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we can do that as like a legwork montage.
Okay.
And then we'll jump from that into or intersperse it with the like basically getting the group on the job. I think in terms of keeping everybody together, maybe we do it as a quick montage. Is Ula going to be taking point on like figuring out who that's going to be and which ship?
Yes, and the method that I would like to use is a combination of skulking and swaying. So obviously, I want to be getting into places that I'm not supposed to be,
Mhm.
but I don't want to kill a bunch of people to get the information I need because that leaves a big trail. I
Mhm.
mostly just want to make good friends with everyone and hear what they have to say about their lives and their daily routines.
So are you? I guess between the two of them, is the more impactful thing going to be kind of changing people's minds or getting into places?
I'm gonna go with getting into places just because I mean they're the same rating for me on both.
Okay.
But
So
I
yeah.
feel like getting into places I can get more assistance with from one of
Mhm.
my super acrobatic friends or something.
So what I'm going to say is we can do this as basically as a setup, and you're going to roll that action, and your result level is going to give a bonus to or a penalty to the engagement roll, and that will kind of describe how well and in what situation you all ended up in trying to make execute the plan of like getting to a ship.
Right.
So
Since I'm very, very disguised all the time,
Mhm.
is this a more controlled approach since it's on my terms?
I think this is just going to be what we call a fortune roll, where there isn't a position. You're just going to roll some dice, and we're going to see the level of effect. Is
Oh.
anybody else participating in this legwork part, and if so, how?
I will do that. I will
Okay.
start looking out. I will study the area.
Okay, so
I'll
you can be
study
like
the area,
are you going to be like a lookout?
look out, and then I'll keep an eye on all the vibes.
Okay.
Like,
Hey, you need to be
Yeah.
my canary. You should be able to know if somebody's gonna get us, right?
Mm.
yep.
You've been right about everything else.
Okay. So yeah, that would definitely work for an
Let's do
assist.
it. Let's do it.
Joyce, if you want to have show spend a stress, that'll
A stress.
give Ula a bonus die for this roll.
Yep, I was being stressed. I just removed the stress thing, right?
Just tick one more stress up
Okay.
from wherever you were, because stress
Okay.
builds.
Okay, I'm stressed.
Okay. So yeah, then Alex, you can go down to fortune roll fortune,
Uh-huh.
and then you're going to input the number of dice, which will be your the skulk plus the assist, and then you can spend a gambit or push to get a die.
Okay, I'm gonna push to get a die.
Okay.
So that's 2 stress.
2 stress, and then you would have 2 bonus dice. So you would
Okay.
add that 2 to your to the action rating that you're using.
Gotcha. I feel like I have a lot more stress than I meant to. I think I took your devil's bonus and added it into my stress earlier.
No, when you take a devil's bargain, you don't take the stress, so you can.
Yeah, so I
take the two.
probably should have knocked off 2 of those. Okay, now we got it. All right, so fortune, 3 dice, 2 for skulk, 1 for help. Any notes in the input value, or should I just roll it?
Just have that be for notes. Just say legwork.
Legwork. Rolling my legwork. Yes.
Cool. So,
Oh,
Oh,
so what's the name of the ship that that
fortune.
you've ID'd?
As a fellow science fiction writer, that is such a cruel.
Hold on, wait. I
question.
got fantasy name generators up. Let me roll
Oh
you.
yes, thank you. Yes, we all use assists. Everyone listening here.
Oh yes, everybody. Okay, so spaceship names.
So you're seeing the sausage being made right here, folks.
Right.
Okay, we're looking for the
I like the blank of blank, by the way.
The blank of
the
blank of blank.
Yeah, it's like the sword of the sun or some fun crap like that.
Okay, it's gonna be the Omen of Defiance.
Ooh,
Good. Good.
ooh, which is
Yeah.
funny because the current owner is a bootlicking piece of crap.
Yep. So Ula, you
Irony.
um,
That's irony.
in this montage of kind of sneaking and kind of buttering people up, you find out that Renas Poe, who is a grand industrialist heir, so he's the son of Salar Poe, who was the industrialist part of that negotiation. So Salar was negotiating for the extraction, like this is going to be good for Malastair, everyone profits, build the Republic, so on and so forth.
God.
Renas Poe, his son, sold the group out to the First Order.
That little alt-right piece of crap.
Oh.
And the Omen of Defiance is his ship.
All right. Let's get
Ass
it.
biscuit.
Straight to it. Let's take it.
Okay. And then are you going to be using the social plan or the transport plan for getting to the ship?
I think we were gonna social to hide out in some kind of alternate vehicle.
This guy has to have parties, right? Can I
Oh, yeah.
dress them for a party to get us in, and we
yeah.
steal it in the middle of the party?
I look
Yeah.
super
Defiance
cute in a
sounds
pilot
brilliant.
uniform, like just
Okay.
up little hat.
I love this more than I could have possibly imagined. So this y'all is why role-playing games are great.
I'm
So cool.
muscular and
This is
stout.
a social plan. I want everybody to select load. So you can untick all the things that you ticked and start over. Decide, are you going to be light, medium, or heavy? If you are medium or heavy, that is going to be weird at a party, and you're going to need a way to explain that, or it's going to mean that there's going to be greater complications if and when things go wrong. So just keep that in mind. It's certainly not impossible to take medium or heavy load. I'm just going to ask everybody kind of what their setup is, like how they're dressed, and then we're going to do the engagement roll and jump in there. So I'm going to pull up the page with engagement roll, and luckily Ula did a great job of setting things up, so you're going to have some bonuses there in getting this started.
I'm excited. We're
This is
going to
gonna
a
be great.
party. It's a party heist. Ocean's 8, let's go.
Okay.
Fantastic. Magnificent.
So has everybody selected load?
Yeah.
Yep.
Are,
Right.
are you a dour Jedi?
No, actually, I see him as being kind of friendly.
Well, when I say dour, I mean like, are you the kind of Jedi that's always wearing like Jedi stuff?
No,
Okay,
no.
awesome. Because I was just just imagining the choice scene of trying to explain to a Jedi that those robes are not cutting it.
Oh, well, we can do that.
Okay, good.
All right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
we can
you
do
can't get into this party looking like that. No.
that.
you.
I'm not comfortable taking this off. What do you...
Well, you're talking to a professional Mandalorian. I don't think you need to worry about not comfortable taking this off.
All right. What? Show me what you've got.
All right, so I dress him to the nines, but it's gonna be like Man Bun. It's gonna be Jason Momoa. It's gonna be incredible.
Remember.
I mean, I
I
intend
love
to
it.
draw attention in like the most subtle way. You got to fit in to be fabulous, you know. So this is gonna be one of those kind of parties.
All right. All right.
Uh,
All right. Let's do
so-
this. Let's
So
get this over
Valerie,
with.
you said that Elle cuts a dashing figure in a pilot's uniform.
Oh, we need to acquire like the next level, like dress blues level pilot's uniform. This is a
Valerie,
part.
I think you're muted.
I am muted. No, I was just looking at the gear and stuff. Sorry. I don't know. I feel like am I in disguise as the driver of whatever bizarre vehicle we're coming in, or am I in the back?
I think you need to come in with us. I think we all need to go to the party and steal the ship from it, blast off, destroy the canapes, the whole works.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So there, and what is Show doing about going to a party?
Just dress me in anything. I look good in green.
Yeah, we got to go next level on that one too. I know a dressmaker.
Okay. I look in green, like peacock.
Yes. Ooh, I like it.
Feathers.
Feathers.
From every angle, a different
Feathers.
color.
Different
So we
angle, different color.
We get a short montage of Ula kind of taking the party shopping. And I think, are you going to take the senators and the rest of the ambassadorial staff to the party? You're going to have them stowed somewhere nearby.
Put them in boxes.
Boxes.
It is true that they're only liabilities. I mean, if we get found out, somebody needs to be able to hightail it with them very quickly. I do think boxes might work.
Okay.
Boxes.
I think then we get a little bit, we get kind of a slightly comedic scene of convincing the very dignified senators to hide out with the security staff in the boxes. You have help from the security staff because they absolutely don't want to go to the party. They think it's totally ridiculous, but they don't have any really better options, because as you get into the city, you realize just how much the First Order is exerting power here. You know, they've got flyovers, there's stormtrooper patrols on the streets. It seems like you can tell just being on the street that they do have some notable kind of support or alliance with some notable factions on Malastare here, which kind of bears out Ula's investigation. And so for the engagement roll, you get a +1 die if the operation is particularly bold or daring. I would say walking into a party on a collaborator's ship is pretty daring. It's not too overly complex or contingent on many factors because you set up the factors ahead of time. So you're at 2 dice. Does this plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Their arrogance. So you're up to 3 dice. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? We already established that. Aura did, so you're up to 4 dice. Are there any other elements you want to consider? So I think you get -1d because there are First Order forces on the ship, and you get another -1d because they know at least what some of you look like. So if you're disguised, that will help, but that's kind of a constraining factor. So you're going to be rolling 2 dice in total, and you want ideally a 6. But
And this is a space yacht, correct?
This is a space yacht. It's basically going to be a party of about 40, and it's the kind of yacht that, like, a few, like 5 to 10 can be comfortable for a whole trip, or 40 can be comfortable for like a single orbit. And
if I can get to the cockpit,
this type of party.
Can I set off some kind of like fire alarm to get everyone off the ship?
Like before it happens?
No, like when we're on board, like in mid party, can I just be like, "Where's the little girls' room?" And then, "Oh my God, there's a fire! Everybody off!"
That's definitely an option. Let's do the engagement roll first to see where we cut in and how tricky of a situation you are to begin with. And then we can have flashbacks where people set stuff up in between that time of when we do the dressing sequence and when we where we cut to.
Don't worry, I'll make you look so good that at least at a distance it won't be a problem.
So who wants to do this engagement roll? So it's going to be a fortune roll, and you're going to have 2 dice.
I'll do it.
All right.
Take point.
Yep. It's
Take
Ula's
point.
plan, so that definitely makes sense to me. So again, that's going to be a fortune roll. You're going to have 2 dice, and you're just it can be called engagement roll or party crashing or something. Have fun. And you start with a 6. So you're gonna you start the scene in a controlled situation. And if you would like, I think that could be because you faked a fire alarm and a lot of the party goers went scurrying before you make your move.
There's a coolant
Excellent.
leak. Oh my God, everybody get off.
Are there any bootlickers left on the ship between us and the helm? I want to clear the way as a panicked party goer with a hidden knife and a itching need for a stormtrooper.
Yeah, I think you're going to be in a controlled situation to make a move from here with that, and I could easily see that with Skulk in terms of like taking the cockpit during that situation.
Excellent.
So I think we see we kind of get the alarm goes off. We flash back to Elle kind of futzing with some things while dressed fancy, interspersed with kind of with the other people in the party talking with people. Ula is like holding court or something, and then we come back to the alarm, and a fair number of the people
You're not
like
supposed
scurrying
to
out, and about half the party is gone, but there's still a few soldiers on board, but there was enough ruckus, Ula, that you're able to go and make this move.
I also would. Is there another flashback that I can add?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I would love to have my smuggler set off some sort of very large-looking explosive. I have a smuggler friend that we could pay to set off a very large-looking explosive on the same street, so that as people flee the ship, they're like, "Crap, what is happening in this neighborhood right now?"
Okay, I think.
And I feel like a criminal
really
element.
going to hell.
I think that is fine. I don't see a huge kind of extra effect, so I think it's a 0 stress flashback, and you're still going to be in a controlled situation.
Gotcha.
For whatever that first roll is, so that can be Ula going for the cockpit. It can be something else. For you all, you know that there's still first order people on the ship, and there are rooms you haven't been in.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go just over to my new stormtrooper friend, and I'm gonna be a drunken party guest looking for the exit frantically, and then I'm going to press my vibroblade through his sternum like a hot knife through fondant.
Okay. So you are in a controlled position here.
Yummy.
Because of the engagement roll and how you kind of frame that scene. I think that's definitely makes sense as a controlled roll. And you can go ahead and do that.
Okay. So I roll Skulk, controlled, effect.
Because it's a vibroblade, it's going to be a great effect.
A great effect. Yeah, it's going to be great. Any bonus dice?
That'd be from push, gambit, push or devil's bargain, gambit, and or assist.
It doesn't seem particularly. Does anybody want to assist me?
Yeah. Jem will assist.
So
Awesome.
what does that look like?
Let's see.
I feel like he would be distracted if you lit your lightsaber at all.
At this point, well, we're well into it at this point. Yeah, so light the lightsaber.
Yeah, he just lights his lightsaber, and I'm like, you don't even get to fight him. Stab.
Cool.
All right.
So that's Jem spend 1 stress, and Ula will get +1 dice.
All right, and then I will spend another 2 stress to get that up to 3. I like winning. Great effect. 3 dice. Submit. Oh,
Oh no.
Okay, so I think the thing here is that you get the stormtrooper, and there's nobody between you and the helm. But Joyce, shows kind of hairs on the back of the neck go up,
Oh no.
and
Oh,
Gem,
no.
Shit.
you hear kind of the door shoot up, and a wave of malice hits your senses.
Oh,
no,
crap.
What?
Was that,
And
was that the door to the cockpit?
so
Or-
the cockpit is here, like is kind
Mhm.
of forward from you, and Ula has just gotten the stormtrooper and has a clear shot that way. You're behind, and there's a door to your right,
Okay.
which you assumed was like basically the small internal turbo lift to go to the engine area.
Mhm.
And that shoots up, revealing Kemal Ren.
Oh,
Can I just
crap.
rig it to go back down?
Yeah, I go first. Go first. Yeah, just.
That is amazing. So I think because this is how I set it up. Kemal Ren is a boss type character. So if you're gonna act against him, first you have to resist a consequence.
Okay.
So I think what that looks like is you're scrambling to like slam the door, and he just tosses you across the room.
Oh, no.
ouchies.
So that you would take level 1 harm battered, but you can resist that consequence.
Okay, how would I resist it?
So how would you deal with or get around getting like telekinetically flung?
Whew. I think that was that a scramble maybe. I would try to lessen the impact of it. I've definitely been in enough crashes that I'm able to deal with hard landing, shall we say.
So that would be a prowess type resist.
Okay. Maybe is scramble maybe appropriate on that?
No, so it's a resist, so you're gonna have to use prowess.
Okay. So then just not hit one mark there.
Just click on the word prowess.
Got
and
it.
It'll roll the dice.
Okay. Do I get any bonuses from anything?
No, it's not. This isn't quite piloting, so you're not going to get the ace pilot bonus.
All right, here we go. Oof.
So it's going to cost you 3 stress, but you resist the damage and kind of are able to kind of roll with it, and you scramble. You're going to scramble back to try to. You can try to do that, but I think in the meantime, somebody else is going to have to occupy him because he's going to come out of that turbo lift like a hurricane. So,
shot.
Ula, you have the shoot first thing, so you can go first here if you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
All
right, let's see here.
And because you got a 6 on the engagement roll, I'm going to say that the cargo with the senators is already loaded.
Okay, great. All right, so the concern is that we want to get this guy off the ship somehow or kill him because we're just going to delay the inevitable. Okay, so we gotta, all right. This is, oh my God. Okay, yeah, I just want to, you know what? I'm just going to try and feint like I am going for a blaster or something. And then throw the knife when he's not expecting it. We'll see if that goes anywhere.
Okay, I think before, as you do that, as you kind of go for the blaster, he does a Vader and just yanks the blaster out of your hand.
Oh, the good news is I didn't have one. That was a feint. What's the feint part?
What does he grab instead?
Just my hand. I'm gonna go with
just your
my
dignity.
Hand. So like our hands meet, and I'm like,
I think
I ship it.
Fictionally, if you're that close, he would just kill you. Like he would strike you down.
Oh well, then I'm just gonna leave then. If I get to go first, I'm gonna use my movement to get out of there.
Yeah, I think that works there. The hand thing is cute, but he's not that type.
Aww.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. I understand. Hey, I was gonna throw the vibro blade, but if he's just that close, I just want to get away from the light halberd.
Yeah, I think if you are just getting away, you're not going to have to resist. So from here, you can get to the cockpit, and he's probably not going to get in your way. But if you're fleeing, he's going to come right after Jem. So Jem, what do you do?
Jem is going to try and drive him back in, because this is a lift that goes down, right?
Uh-huh.
He's going to try and drive him back into the lift, because if he's in the lift, he's in a more contained space, which makes it harder to use the light halberd.
Okay. And you're doing this via lightsaber?
Yeah, he's going to lightsaber him. It's basically just to try to drive him right back.
So you kind of ignite your lightsaber, and he says, "Oh, look, a trophy, lol," and is going to basically try to take your hand off at the elbow before you can push him back.
All right.
So that's going to be a level 2 consequence to resist before you act.
That's 2 stress.
So you roll, you say how you resist, and you roll that stat, and you take 6 minus your highest result.
Okay, gotcha. I think that would be a scrap.
Yep. So prowess resist.
Prowess resist. So that's that prowess at what, 2 or 1?
Your prowess should be 3. So just click prowess, the word, and it should roll. It should give you the prompt.
Okay, so I'll just hit. So no bonus dice. So just submit. And that's okay. Yeah. So it's 6 minus what?
6. So it costs you 0 stress.
0 stress. Okay.
Yep. So rolling high on resistances is very good.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
They kept it. It's consistent. So you always do want to roll high. So yeah, you kind of get out of the way of that shot, and you can go ahead and do your roll to push him back.
All right. I'm driving him right into the elevator. Let's do this.
Cool.
I have an idea on the elevator.
Let's say scrap. All right. So that's risky, or
this is, I think here it's just risky because you have the right weapon to address the situation.
Okay. All right. So
because the lightsaber can stand up to his halberd. This is going to be standard effect. Okay. You have a fine weapon. Actually, I'm going to say this is limited effect because he is a higher tier than you.
Okay.
The thing that you do have is you have unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
So you can engage a small gang on equal footing. So basically, you can push yourself and fight like you are 3 people's worth of fighting.
Okay. Yep. Gonna do that.
And what that does is it means that you have scale on him because it's a 3-on-1, but he has tier on you because he is like a high level bad guy, and that equals it out, and it gives you a standard effect.
Okay. All right. So I'll make that a standard effect. Mm-hmm. Do I have to spend any stress or anything for that, or is that just
you can also use Battleborn to get a free push by expending your special armor.
Okay, I'll do that then.
And that instead of spending 2 stress.
Okay, so let's do that.
You will also get the no, you don't also get the die. So you can spend a gambit, you can get an assist, or you can get a devil's bargain.
Let's see. Does anyone want to do an assist?
I do assist.
All right.
Yeah. So how does show assist?
Show kind of like pulls out like a pistol from her cleavage and the dress and just shoots at Kemal
Ren, yeah.
Kemal to distract him. Just like
yeah. So he has to, like, as they're fighting, he's also having to dodge or like swipe away the blaster bolts. Some he telekinetically throws away, and some he just grabs and stops with the kind of the big metallic mitts that he's using to, like, so they're kind of like gauntlet mitts that he's using as he's holding his halberd and fighting against Jem. So spend 1 stress, and that will give Jem +1 die.
I just increase 1 stress again.
Yep.
So let's try this again.
I'm so stressed. Stressed.
So this is risky. Standard, you said?
Standard effect, because you had +1 and -1.
Okay, and 1 bonus die?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So let's roll this.
Okay, so that's a 5. So you have a standard effect. So you're going to fill up 2 ticks of his 8 clock. That is basically the obstacle that is Kemal Ren.
8. Ouchies.
But because you got a 5, you're going to suffer the level 2 consequence burned as he kind of gets a halberd slash across like a shoulder and your chest.
Okay.
But that is a consequence you can resist.
Okay, how much stress do I have to spend to do it?
You have to roll, and then basically when you resist, you say, I resist, and you resist the consequence. But you don't know how much stress it's going to cost you. So it's always a gamble.
Okay, all right. I will resist.
Okay, so again, that's going to be prowess.
Okay.
Fortunately, as a fighty type, you've got a good dice pool here. And as long as you keep rolling well, you can just be tough.
Yeah, no bonus dice? Just
no bonus dice.
Okay, all right.
6.
6. The devil's
well. Someone's got your back.
So I think what happens, so you also clear 1 stress because you rolled a critical on resistance.
All right.
And this is why. He used the exact same blow to try to take you out that he used on your master. And that has to have been one of the things you were thinking about as you were stewing as the transport was escaping. So you anticipate it perfectly.
And I think basically whereas Master Shi was like, I think he's fighting similarly to how Master Shi fought with these very precise strikes, but because he's younger and a little faster and he's trained a little differently, it's that, but like everywhere at once.
Okay. Yeah. So it's this into a counter thrust, a sidestep into a cut. And this room is not built to be able to hold you all. So Jem, you also know that the room is going to take a lot of damage the longer you stay fighting here.
Okay. In the small thing.
Yeah. So this is like an interchange hallway. So it's wider than a normal hallway. It's about 20 feet wide. And it's got the elevator on one side. And then it leads to the cockpit down there. And then the party is the opposite direction from the cockpit.
All right. Can I try and drive him towards the party area? Just drive him away from the cockpit?
So you did kind of succeed there. So I think we can adjust that. You can either try to push him into the elevator or push him toward the party, but not both.
Pushing him into the elevator. Get him into
I'm trying to get to the elevator controls if that's possible on the bridge.
No, that's what I was trying. Yeah, I was trying to do that.
Now let's go back to L because there's been enough time in the scene for you to scramble back and try the door. And now because he's occupied, you can go ahead and make that roll. I don't want to make you resist again to try before doing that one thing.
Okay, so I'm doing a scramble roll. And so I'm trying to get to the elevator controls. What's my position?
So to override the elevator this way, you might have a better time with rig.
Okay, let's do that. All right.
So this is going to be a desperate situation because you're trying to do stuff while people are swinging like murder weapons around you.
Yeah, it's a little stressful.
But do you have tools of some sort
I have a mechanics kit. I can do a flashback to pulling something else because I only took 2 of my light load items.
Okay.
So if I need something like hacking tools or repair tools or something else, but I have my mechanics kit with me.
Okay, yeah, and the memento doesn't count as a load, so you still have 1 space.
Yeah, I was gonna also bring the droid, but I didn't know if you wanted to work that in.
Okay, yeah, I put that there just in case, but I think we're gonna be good without. The Fine Mechanics kit will give you the scale you need to deal with a ship that is kind of above your tier.
Okay.
So it's going to be desperate but standard effect.
Okay. And bonus dice. I've only got 2 stress left before I hit trauma, so I don't think I can.
I want to help.
Okay. How are you helping?
So I have the hack skill, and every hardware interface has a software interface too.
Okay.
So I figure I've dodged enough scrutiny, so I'm gonna go help you.
Okay. Yeah. So you can. Are you on like another console?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I'd really like to do, since we've determined that ships have localized gravity in Star Wars but aren't,
Mhm.
rotating, I'm guessing there's a gravity drive, and I want to add that to the making the elevator hit the bottom of the shaft as hard as I can.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So spend a stress, and
Nice.
you'll give L a bonus die.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting pretty stressed out, dude.
And L, I might recommend spending a gambit, because if you fail here, it's going to be a desperate level consequence.
Okay, let's do it. So I
Too
get
bad
one
it's not my
bonus die on
desperate
this.
gambit.
Does that gives me another bonus die?
It does.
All right. Okay, here we go. Yes.
Okay, and there's
Yeah.
a 6. I think Ula's ability to generate gambits on desperate is only when Ula rolls. So unfortunately, that won't give you one back, but it does give you 2 more ticks as the turbo lift kind of door slams down, and Jem, you're able to Jem, you feel that it's going to happen.
Mhm.
Do you pull yourself out of the fight, or do you go into the turbo lift with him?
I think he's gonna. It's probably smarter to go out, but I think he's gonna go in with him, because unless he's straight up killed, he's gonna come back.
Okay, so that will put you into a desperate position, because now it's just you and him. So what do you
Okay.
do?
Oh no! Can Show try to pull like Jam out using the force? Like
Oh, that's good.
Like
Oh,
pull him back.
that's
like
good.
He's
Pull him
jumping
back.
in. You
Yank.
absolutely can, but that'll
Yeah.
be an attune roll. That's
Okay,
probably the
attune
thing that
roll,
would make
okay.
sense here, unless
So we
you
resolve hers first.
Yeah, I think so. It's basically you declare an intention,
Uh-huh.
and then Show is reacting.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
If you're okay with this,
this is good. This is great. This is great.
Okay.
Whereas Ula and I are staring at each other like, what?
Stop
No!
running toward him.
Like-
yeah. Okay, so Joyce, that's going to be an attune roll for Show. You
Okay.
can push, spend gambit.
Push,
Getting
spend
an
gambit.
assist might be hard, or actually, maybe the assist would be if Jem decides to go with it.
Is it desperate or controlled?
This is going to be. This is desperate, because I think you have to act really fast, and
Okay.
doing this will identify to Kemal that you are also a notable threat using the force.
Okay. What's the
he'll
standard? The effect
uh,
will be limited or great?
The effect is going to be standard.
Standard.
I think
okay.
if you end up with a limited effect, it might. It's probably going to do. There's going to be some consequence.
Okay. Okay. What's the bonus dice? There's no bonus dice for me, right?
That's if you push or spend a gambit.
I spent a gambit.
Okay.
Small,
So, yeah.
one dice, right?
Yep. So you've got. That's 1 bonus die.
Shit.
And 5.
There we go.
Because it's just moving him a few feet, and the thing is coming down so fast, I think that will do it.
Okay.
But what that does is, Jem, you kind of you've gotten ramped up for the fight, and now he's not there, and worse, you don't know where he is.
Oh, okay.
So you all have like a moment of a breather, and in that moment, what do you do?
Damn it! Where does that elevator shaft go to? Where does the shaft go to? That's where he is.
Okay, I'm at the computer. Can I see what, some sort of console thing? Can I pull up a map? Can I look at anything?
Because you were mutzing around with the ship earlier, you know that this leads to kind of the central walkway for cargo. So from where he is, you can go you're going into the cargo area, and then the engine is the other part of the bottom.
Oh, we may have to send him down towards the engine room.
I need to skulk down there. That's what I need to do.
Jem is going down there as well.
I think I need to get to the cockpit.
Yeah, we don't need
go to the cockpit. I need to go down there now.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna go to the cockpit though.
yep. And
Let me
so
at least have this Jedi's back.
in the cockpit,
Okay.
there are two, like there's basically a pilot and a co-pilot. They
Mhm.
are not armed.
Okay. I am. Cool.
So pull out my pistol.
Hi. Could you go now
So-
though?
So that'll be a roll.
Okay. What am I rolling? Command?
Command would have a great effect because you have a weapon, and
Cool.
there's been lots of crazy stuff already.
Is this risky, controlled?
This is controlled for now.
Okay.
Like, this roll is controlled because you have control of the situation.
Okay. And what's the effect? Great effect, you said.
That's going to be great effect, yeah.
Okay. And do I need any bonus die? Do I?
Because it's controlled, it's the worst that could happen is either you have to do it again at risky. Is basically going to be the worst that could happen here.
Okay. Ouch.
Okay. I think
Uh,
you're going to get them to take off, but you have to browbeat them for a while or shoot one of them.
Oh, I do hate violence. I think I'm better at browbeating. Let's do it.
Okay. So I think the consequence, like when you roll a 3 normal, you don't get what you want, but we're in a last scene, so I'm going to move the fiction forward,
Mhm.
and I think you're going to be doing that, but we're going to take a couple of beats before the ship takes off.
Could I shoot near them, but then it damages something that I will have to fix?
Absolutely.
How about that? It's like I am
so-
threatening you. I shoot nearby. Oh shoot! I need that.
So what you shot is the transponder.
I
So
did that.
it makes a problem in terms of them like checking out of the ship. You can take off, but it's going to cause more problems in terms of them communicating to be able to get away the way that they're supposed to. So that's that. And let's
You
let's
shot
jump
the
to,
reason we stole the ship.
let's jump to
Whoops.
Ula. I'm going to say that you have
You don't know yet, though.
You've scoped this ship enough that you know an access panel that you can just slink down to get to the cargo level.
Okay, awesome. So I'm skulking through the darkness,
Mhm.
right? And I'm looking for a giant blacksmith and oven mitts.
Yeah.
He is not hard to find. Like he is basically carving his way through the cargo.
Ah.
How could I wait? Like our cargo, because I might want to get his attention sooner than later.
Basically, he cuts probably a meter through one of the cargo containers,
Oh,
and he's
crap.
just throwing a hissy fit, and he's like yelling to himself. And
Wait, our people are in those boxes, aren't they? Is that not a thing? Where our
Yeah,
people
that's a
That's a-
problem.
they are
So-
not in that box specifically.
Oh,
you
good.
know, Ula,
Oh, good.
but he's throwing a tantrum. He's incredibly dangerous, and
Has Jem been able to follow him? Has Jem been able to follow Ula down?
it's going to take you just a little bit. I want to
Okay.
give
All right, that's
a
fine.
bit more description to Alex for Ula
That's fine.
to make a
I want
move.
to pick up something.
Mhm.
Or I want to use something that's nice and heavy to make a something fell over in the distance noise and see if I can get him to run over to it.
Okay, yeah. You can definitely do that. I don't think it's going to advance his clock, but you can kind of get him where you want him.
Well, the thing is, if he goes, so he would go over to it?
Mhm.
Because I haven't taken my third thing and I was thinking it could be another detonator.
Okay. That will be very dangerous to everyone in the room, but you can definitely do it.
Wait.
Uh,
It
No,
would have a great effect if you used it on him directly.
It might have a negative effect on the hull's integrity.
I mean,
Just keep rolling 6s and everything will be fine.
he's not my client. Senators, I don't care.
We're gonna have
Only
to
a-
steal another ship.
Only a little care about the senators. Okay, that's not gonna work then. I need to get him away from the senators though. I don't want him throwing a tantrum where the senators are.
So I think we can come back.
You could use the detonator as a threat.
Jem, how are you getting down? Are you taking the turbo lift or are you doing something else to get down?
I think you would probably take the turbo lift.
Okay, so you can do that. What is Show doing?
can I follow Jam down as well?
Yep, so the
As
two of
in,
you can take the turbo lift down.
Yep. I say
Yeah.
I turn to him and say I think there's something. All right. you need to prepare yourself. There's something. He's not happy at the moment.
No, definitely not.
Not.
And what is Jem like in that, like, just few seconds between the fight kind of getting paused, getting into the turbo lift, and heading down the floor?
He is trying not to let fear creep into those seconds, because when you get adrenalized and when you're amped up, you don't think about that sort of thing. But the second things are put on pause, your thoughts can sort of come back in, and he's trying not to do that.
Okay. And how is Sho in this moment facing probably one of the most deadly force users you've encountered?
I just want to. I wonder if I can use kinetics.
So I'm asking kind of emotionally in the moment before you rejoin the fight. How is your character feeling?
I'm feeling unsure of. It's like I'm on edge. I'm a bit. I'm alert. But the moment the door opens, I'm going to fling something at it.
Okay.
Fling something at it.
So yeah, let's. I'm gonna kind of reframe this to Ula. You see the turbo lift come out, and you're going to be able to coordinate what you do with Kemal reacting to the two of them.
All right. Well, this is my customer getting into direct confrontation. So when Kemal turns around and sees these people coming out of the turbo lift, hopefully lightsaber ablaze, I'm just like, this is the way. And I run at him with the knife, and I hope that he doesn't turn back to look at me. But that vibroblade is supposed to go through anything. So
okay, what action are you using for this here?
I'm going to use Skulk. So I'm attempting to spring a trap.
Okay, I think he is excited and bloodlusty enough about killing the Jedi that you're not going to have to make a resistance roll just to make your roll. So you can go ahead and roll your Skulk. It will be a desperate position, however.
Good. That gives me Daredevil. That's +1 die plus a gambit.
Okay.
So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to Skulk. Desperate.
Mm-hmm. And you're
what
gonna
effect?
It's a fine vibroblade, right?
Yeah, I just want to push it between his cervical vertebrae.
Yeah. Normally that would have a great effect, but he's a high tier, so it's going to be a standard effect.
It's a standard effect. Just going to standardly separate his neck. All right. So hopefully I got two bonus dice from the Daredevil and from the Gambit that I self-generate and use. Does anybody want to assist me?
Well, Jem is going to be coming out of that turbo lift running at him.
Okay.
All right. I actually wish to get another die then with the Devil's Bargain, please.
Okay. What Devil's Bargain do you want?
I am fine with him seeing, like, right as I get to him and reacting to me, as long as I get the knife into his neck.
Okay, so you're willing to accept harm?
I'm willing to accept harm.
All right. So
Nice.
You're going to take, because this is a desperate situation, you would take level 3 harm. Let's see. What's a good level 3 harm for when you're trying to stab somebody in the back? I think disarmed, but with a dash. DIS dash arm.
Right.
I hope you weren't too attached to that arm.
That's okay. Smugglers build cool crap into their arms.
Yep. So yeah,
As seen in my book, The Salvagers.
You would definitely get another bonus die.
Sweet. So we're up to 3 bonus dice. Devil's Bargain. I don't want the Jedi helping. That's not right. You've provided enough help. Oh yeah.
All right. So that is a 6.
Sweet.
So you're going to go ahead and do 2 more ticks. You have 2 ticks left in his 8 clock. So kind of one more cool thing is going to be able to take care of him. So I think you get the knife in and it goes right where it's supposed to, but he is so amped up on rage that he turns around and takes one of your arms off with that halberd. And he's just roaring, like and kind of spins the halberd back around and kind of is coming right at Sho and Jem. And you like, I think anybody in the room, you can tell that he's in like dying animal flails,
Oh.
but
All right.
he's not. He hasn't stopped yet.
Oh no.
Okay, so he could kill.
He could,
Lund,
yeah.
He could kill him. He could kill the senators and.
Yeah, one of those swipes could
Can kill.
take any of you out. Like he.
Okay.
Was Ula wearing some kind of armor under the disguise?
You know, I don't know. Did I do? Okay, so I didn't end up with the detonator. Do I pick my last thing?
You could do, if you have the space for an armor, you could do that if you wanted to resist the damage down.
Weapon.
No. You know what? I'm gonna say that the last thing that I had was
Weapon.
it was poison,
Okay.
and it was on the knife.
So that would be, I think.
Oh.
That would be a 1 cost flashback.
Okay, what is one?
So you'd spend 1 stress.
Okay, awesome.
And so I think how that manifests is, you all see that kind of green something is flowing through the kind of really visible veins on his face.
All right.
And spreading quickly.
Yeah, I have dipped this dagger in the hollow waters of Dathomir, so.
Okay. Oh, so like he's really swinging wild.
He's got some force poisoning. That's what I'm saying.
Jem, it seems like he is trying to cut both you and a person that isn't next to you.
Ah.
Okay. All right.
And taking really big, wide swings. But
why are there 2 of you now?
It also means that he is damaging more of the cargo.
Okay.
Can I
Yeah.
throw something at him, like kinetics, and like throw some table size at him?
Fire extinguisher. Throw a fire extinguisher.
Absolutely can. What thing do you pull from kind of this busy, loaded up cargo bay to throw at him?
A box of tools?
Yeah, for sure. And what action are you going to use?
Are you going to use scrape? Scrape?
Scrap, yeah.
Scrap, yeah. Scrap. Risky?
A tune is probably going to have a greater effect.
Okay, a tune. It's probably risky.
This is still desperate because he is so amped up. Okay,
desperate.
And
effect standard.
Yeah, normally it would be limited, but at this point, any extra distraction is going to have a better impact because he's hallucinating.
So it's great.
So that brings it up to standard because he's a high-level enemy. Normally, you would have limited effect by default.
Okay, bonus dice. I will be using kinetics, right?
Yeah. So
one dice.
You'd have your attune, and then does kinetics give you a bonus when you use it?
Yep. So 2 dice.
And then you could. The team has 1 gambit left.
3 dice then.
Okay.
Gambit.
Right.
Up.
Roll well. You want a 6, otherwise you're going to take a nasty consequence.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a critical. So not only do you actually, here's the question: because you got a crit, do you want him dead or alive? Do you want him dead or unconscious?
Dead.
You want him dead.
Oh. I want him unconscious. I don't get paid.
Okay.
Well, like, I think because it's a crit, I want to give you that that choice. So you will kind of throw that straight through, like you throw the box and just like there's a big long thing that you put in stuff to, and then it
screwdriver.
Final destination.
And I think because it's a crit, he goes down right away.
Oh my god!
And nothing else gets broken. And kind of one last wave of emotion comes off of him, like as he's dying and falling. And I think both Sho and Jem, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all of that for what? Like, I lost, like, that was it? And he's just gone. and kind of hits.
I am sick and tired of fucking cleaning up. Sorry, I have kids. So.
Okay.
So he kind of hits the floor, and the halberd goes out, and Ula, you know that the cargo container that the diplomats is in has been damaged, but hopefully not enough that they're hurt. And we're going to jump back up to Valerie. And are you going to have them fly out, or are you flying out?
Oh, I'm flying out. I'm sorry.
So why don't you give us one last roll to get the ship out of kind of first order control?
All right. Do I need to get anybody off the ship before we do this, or are we pretty much in the clear?
Every bit of extra time you take is going to make things harder.
Okay. So helm, let's do this.
Okay.
All right. I don't think. What's my position here?
So this is risky because this is going to cover all of getting out.
Okay. Effect is.
It's going to be standard. And you're going to get you're going to have great effect because of your potency.
Okay, hold on.
From Ace Pilot.
Okay. And bonus die. I only have 2 stress left. So if I do that, I have to take a trauma.
So what that would look like is if you succeed, you would get kind of past the first order control, and then Elle would just pass out in a pile of sweats.
Cool. Let's do it. All right.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So mark the stress.
So one bonus die. Oh, actually, hold on. If I mark the stress, I have to hold on. Got to clear it out of the thing. All right. So helm, risky, effect is great. 1 bonus die. And we're out of gambits, right?
Let's see. Did Ula generate a gambit on that last roll?
Yeah, but I used it.
Okay. So yeah, I think.
Okay.
That's it.
Here we go.
Good dice. Good dice.
Yes.
Okay. There's a 6. So we get a kind of a rapid montage of Elle kind of flying and ordering the 2 people to fix the transponder, kind of talking them into kind of talking to the first order, while the group down below kind of pulls the cargo container apart and tends to the minor injuries, like kind of battering and bruising for the senators and the security staff. You're able to kind of keep control over the rest of the first order staff, and you can fly that ship to Naboo and cut there. So good job, everybody.
Yeah.
I have to beg the other characters not to take off my disguise before I go unconscious with my missing arm.
Oh.
I'm like, no bacta.
Okay.
And then when Elle wakes up, like she'll be not quite the same ever again, but almost certainly going to get a hero's welcome when you all get to Naboo. So thank you all so much. That was a lot of fun, and you surprised me more than a few times, which is exactly what I want when I'm running a game, because I prep and leave a lot of room, and then it's up to you all to bring it to life, and you really did.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody who is watching and listening, and I'm going to ask our players to quickly remind us where readers and listeners and watchers can find them, and any like project shout out they want to give. And let's go ahead and start with Joyce.
Okay, hi, I'm Joyce. I'm normally found on social media like Twitter at Jolantru, JOLANTRU, because I'm a Romulan fan. And you can look for me on my web page called The Wolf's Tale, where I write werewolves and dragons and lesbian swordsmen.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, Joe, Mr. Lightsaber Man, where can we find you?
Hi, you can find me on Twitter, Joseph Brassey. My website, josephbrassey.com. I'm fairly active on Facebook. The Authors and Dragons podcast, authorsanddragons.com, and facebook.com/authors and dragons.
Excellent. Valerie.
You can find me at Valerie Valdes with an S.com. So VALERIE VALDES.com. Same thing at Twitter. No weird numbers or dashes or anything, just Valerie Valdes at Twitter. And check out my novel Chilling Effect. It's pretty cool. If you like this, you'll probably like that too.
Awesome. And Alex.
All right. Well, my agent told me never not to have this. A Big Ship at the Edge of the
Good job.
Universe. Right. Book 1 available now. Actually, book 1 and 2 are available now, with book 3 coming out in July, so you can binge safe it this year, pretty much, And then, of course, Alien: The Cold Forge. You wanna read some dark stuff.
Cool.
Alex.
All right. Thank you so much to our lovely players. I'm Mike Underwood. I've been the GM for this. I want to say thank you again to Strash Asimovic and John LeBeouf Little for designing a wonderful game that I have a bunch of fun running. And you can find me at michaelrunderwood.com or at Mike R. Underwood on Twitter. Finally, my space opera has been announced. I have a book called Annihilation Aria, which is coming this May from Parvis Press. And
it's super good. It's super good.
Valerie was generous enough to give me an advance endorsement. But yeah, it's this kind of fun. I grew up on Star Wars like a lot of folks, and it is that type of good space fantasy bullshit. And I hope you all will enjoy it. The cover has been revealed. You can find information at michaelunderwood.com. And please, everybody, if you've liked this, check out the other actual play games that we do on Speculate, our podcast. That's Greg and I co-hosting. You can find it on Twitter at SpeculateSF and at speculatesf.com. And I want to say thank you again so much to Greg, aka Arv, for hosting us here, and I'm going to toss it back to him.
Yay!
That's great stuff. I can confirm. I also did stuff for Mike's Annihilation Aria, and it's awesome, and you all should get it when it's there. This was great, folks. I really enjoyed this a lot, and the chat was enjoying it quite as well. And I love the fact that the loss of an arm, everyone was like, oh, it's not like, it's like,
now
yeah,
it's finally Star Wars.
You gain an arm, you lose an arm. But it wasn't
Wars.
like, it's like an arm, so it's not a big But anyway, it was great stuff. Thanks to everybody, and I'm going to say goodbye to the Speculate listeners. Remember, you can check us out as always at speculatesf.com, and please get all of these fine people's books, and please let everyone know and spread the word far and wide about the show, because we're trying to continue to expand and get even more awesome authors and more actual play sessions like this going. So I will say goodbye to Speculate only for now. So goodbye to Speculate listeners. And and before I do that, great job, Mike, on the GMing. I want to make sure the Speculate people know that that's the case.
Yeah.
Thank
Well
you, Mike.
And now that the recording stopped, I will say to my Twitch people again, thank you all for being here. And yes, Mike, excellent work as always. It was a lot of fun, and you could tell that from the fact that the players were genuinely freaked out and excited at the same time. So that was always a good time to see it. So that means that it was a good show. But thank you so much to Valerie, to Alex, to Joseph, to Joyce, and of course to Mike. And I'm going to let these folks go and wrap up. Chat, can we get some love for them? And Speculate players and GM, thank you all so much for being on the channel, etc.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Right.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye bye.
All right. And that is going to do it for this special episode, this special show. Hold on a second as I quickly get that cleared out of the way and then move over to where's my webcam? There's my webcam, and there we go. So thank you so much to the wonderful people that did this today. It was really enjoyable, and I knew it would be. And if you like this, and if you're like, man, this is some really good tabletop, I've never seen this before, I wonder if Arv does more of this. Yes, I do. First of all, you should check out my podcast with Mike, speculatesf.com. Again, we have done more of this actual play stuff, including a lot of Eberron, and we did some Blades in the Dark, and I've done some other just sort of straight Scum and Villainy with Mike GMing without the Star Wars component added to it. And then as far as this channel is concerned, we've got a lot of that going as well. I have got the stuff going on Tuesday with Adventures in Middle Earth, which is where I'm going to be coming to you folks next. And then on, that's Tuesday, and then I'll be over at Pen and Pixels with, I believe, D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder as well. So we're going to have a couple of tabletop things then. And then I've got the rest of the schedule sort of planned out. On Friday, I will have a live show of my band from the Lily Pad in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That'll be starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, and so you should definitely stop by the channel. And if you happen to be near Cambridge, you should stop by the actual show, because that would be really awesome. Yes, I do. I do indeed play D&D on this channel on occasion, Rock God. Yes, I do. But it's been a good Star Wars weekend. We had Jedi Fallen Order yesterday, and then we had some Star Wars Scum and Villainy today, and that was great. So I want to thank again Mike and all the players for their great work, and I want to thank all of you folks on chat for being awesome as well. And before I talk about all the cool stuff, I do just want to mention again, since we were talking about books, if you haven't done so already, you can pre-order my graphic novels Icarus and Jelinek, which are coming out from Athos Arts. That is going to be coming out in April of next year, so you can still pre-order that, !Icarus or !Jelinek. Also, be on the lookout for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which is my adventure written with Alligator Alley Entertainment, published by them, I should say. I just got word that all the editing on the adventure is done. They're just doing final editing on the book contributions, which are those books for the part of the source book. And so we are closing in on it being finished. As I said, it should be available and to the printers by early February, and we should have it hopefully in the hands of people by PDF earlier than that, sometime in January. So you can check that out as well. And last, I made this announcement just recently, but Greyshade, my Greyshade Kickstarter, which is my Greyshade universe about an assassin who is the best of the best, set in a fantasy world. The pitch line is, what if Jason Bourne were trained in 15th century Rome in the ways of sonic magic? That's part of the Grey Assassin trilogy, Greyshade, Renegade, and then Heretic. And those books are going to be released by Clarion Game Studios with John Helfer's editing. The board game, a board game of this, an adventure, awesome board game with resource management and semi-cooperative, it's really cool, is being designed by Dylan Bertolo and is going to be published again by Clarion Game Studios. And last but certainly not least, the amazing RPG, the tabletop RPG, which is going to be 5e compatible, is being published by Alligator Alley Entertainment and is being designed by Aaron Rosenberg. And so we have a really great team assembled, plus an audiobook, which is going to be done by Mr. Trendane Sparks. So it's looking awesome. I'm very excited for it, and that is going to be launching that Kickstarter in March of next year. The last thing I just want to mention, just because I'm super excited about it, is that I finished my own last revisions on the middle grade novel that I've been working on today, and so I'm going to be sending those off to my beta readers, and I won't say who the beta readers is, except to say that one of the people that you saw tonight on the show might in fact be one of said beta readers. So I'm going to be sending it off to them, and then getting back feedback from them sometime in January, presumably incorporate that, and then I'm going to be submitting that and starting to query that in February. So I'm super excited about that book. I'm really excited about how well it worked. And Brahms, of course, has heard part of this because Brahms was up at CanCon where I read the opening to it. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, it's going to be great. So, but I want to thank everyone for being here. You are all lovely people. Thank you. And make sure that you check out the ways to support the channel. Thank you as well to Durable and to Orbweaver, who resubbed today. I really appreciate that. It's really awesome when that happens when I'm not directly doing something on the channel, because it just means a lot to me when that happens too, because it shows that people are thinking about the channel and are coming back. So I really do appreciate that. I think we're sitting right now at about 66 subs, which is super cool. So hopefully that will continue to happen. I know, Coven. Oh my God, dude, you really have. I know it, man. I know. But pay to win. It will be pay to read, right? It's like pay to read. Anyway, but I want to thank everyone. If you like what you saw and heard, please follow the channel. Please check out the YouTube with !ArvTube. And I've had a couple people subscribe over there, so please do that. Thank you, Orbweaver, who's still here with the cheer. Thanks again, Orbweaver. I appreciate that very much. So, !ArvTube, !Arv tweets for my Twitter, !Arvcord for the Discord. We got a lot of people over there, so please stop by and say hi to us over there too. You can find all of that on arvaneleron.com, which is my website for the channel. And then, of course, we've got the financial ways to support us. The shop Exclamation point Arv Shop, thank you, Coven, which has merchandise for Adventures of Middle-earth with Terry Toon's illustrations, with Curse of Strahd, Infinity and Beyond. And hopefully soon with Esper Genesis as well. Exclamation point Arv Treon is my Patreon, sitting right there at 303. Would love to see that go north as well, because we got a lot of stuff going on with the Patreon, and I'd love to be able to build that up and be able to bring back Arvanaut Idol 4 and a new Talisman tournament and other stuff. You can get cool stuff for yourself plus cool stuff for the channel, and it really does help support what I do here. So please consider jumping on board with that. And also, please consider jumping on board, as many of you did, with that sub button. As I say, we're up to 66 subs, and so we're moving up in the right direction. Goal by the end of the year is to hit 80. We'll see if we get there, but we are definitely moving in the right direction, thanks to not only all the resubs, but to the generosity of people like Coven Guy, who's sort of crazy. So to keep my voice, yeah, it's still a little ragged, but it's not terrible. It's a little bit ragged. I mean, like I say, this is not the time with all the talking and stuff that I have to do with teaching and everything else to be able to do it. But after Monday, I'm going to try to, Tuesday, I'm going to try to make sure that I'm not overdoing too much of the voice. But I do talk for a living, so it's not easy. I want to make sure that I keep my voice in decent shape for the show on Friday in particular, because singing with I could just be like Tom Waits, like, anyway. But that is, I think, going to do it for me. And I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. Thank you to all of my chat. Thank you to everyone else who was here. And thank you, of course, again to the players and the GM. Let me take a look and see who we're going to raid today. Who have we got? Come on, Twitch, you can do it. Strike a pose. There's nothing to it. Oh, okay. I have no idea why I just hit that, but I did. Okay, I think I know who it's going to be. Yes, okay. I think I know who we are going to raid today. So, please, if you are a sub, yes, please retweet the gray shade thing. Please do that. That does definitely help. So, if you are not a sub, you are going to do this, which is the Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are a sub, you're going to do this, which is the Arvanauts have landed, followed by Get Hype, which is ARVANE, all lowercase, uppercase H, lowercase YPE, when you are automagically brought over there, which will be happening soon. So please stick around for that. Thank you so much to, and also I forgot to mention, thank you to Shadowed Mage for that awesome Scum and Villainy overlay that you folks saw. That was Shadowed Mage's doing, so thank you so much to him. Thank you to my wonderful mods. Thank you to Arudinel, to Coven Guy, Rock God, Dragon Spear. Thank you all so much. You are lovely people. Thank you as well to my subscribers, Arudinel, Coven Guy, Rock God, Orb Weaver, and of course Turbo Tango. Thank you to Turbo Tango again for a great job today on the GMing. It was great to see it. Thank you to Alfred Judicus, another TT viewer, Atris2, Aiton, Brahms, Commander Root, Feet, Harlequin, Carohem, Love Shack, Lurks, Moobot, I guess, Optic Nerve, Centilliz, Strider, U Christensen, V&K, Valerian Gamer, Virgo Praz, West River Rat, Yetsuko, and Zimmy002. Thank you all so much, and I will see you back here on Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern for the continuation of Adventures of Middle-earth, Wilderland Adventures, and then over on GOG.com for my Pen and Pixel show, and D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. Until we speak next time in a couple of days, everyone be good to each other. May the Force be with you. Have a good night.
What do you remember when the world was fresh and new? When it all seemed clear to you? When your aim was straight and true? Were your mind untroubled by the questions in the dark? Content to play your part, open pathways to your heart? Were your life untainted by a host of broken dreams? When all your acts were queens, understood all that it means? Could you have understood the way your life turn your